Understand. Under that category, right? It's a question at home. After a night. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We can stand for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence, and I would just ask, we've had our former county administrator's husband pass away, if we could just remember her during our moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You. The roll call.
Commissioner Robbins?
Here.
Commissioner Walter?
Here.
Commissioner Bonnet?
Present.
Commissioner Wessel is absent with prior notice. Commissioner Campbell?
Here and present.
Commissioner Alguier? Yes. Chairman Yoder?
Here. Thank you. Next up, we have approval of the agenda. Do we have any late additions or deletions? To my knowledge, I guess, so take a motion.
To approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, moved and supported. Discussion? Not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0. Next up, we have declarations of conflicts of interest. Do we have any members or commissioners here that have a conflict with items on the agenda today? None. We'll go on to our communications. And first we have an update from our administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to start with indicating that we have made some recent strides in the Finance Department hiring status. I have filled one position, someone that will be coming in as an assistant finance director. That individual is a Bachelor of Science in Accounting with a minor in Business Information Systems. She's eligible to sit for the CPA exam and intends to pursue that certification while as part of Leelanau County. She's currently a private senior associate at PricewaterhouseCoopers, the second largest of the Big Four international accounting firms. She's primarily responsible for budgeting, forecasting, managing operational finance processes for large government, large companies and international divisions. I was impressed with her ability to develop technical accounting analysis and process and to prepare audit-ready financial statements. I expect her to start on March 23rd. And she's already made arrangements to be residing in Leelanau County. So looking forward to adding her to the staff. A couple other possible hires as alternate assistant finance directors as well as clerks, but we're working on that additional hiring right now. You'll note in your packet there, I've submitted a resolution for you to consider regarding modernizing the finance department. Other than a few items that you'll readily see are items that would be required for you to approve, specifically the authorization of a request for proposals to replace our existing accounting software that's actually quite old and server-based, makes it difficult for department heads to have access to that software. So we're asking you to do that. Most of the other items on that resolution, frankly, are things that I would have the authority to implement as administrator, but I'm asking you to consider them and essentially authorize the direction that I'm asking, or I intend to take the finance department in particular. For the record, that the resolution does indicate it's being adopted pursuant to MCL 46.11, small parents M, and that gives the board the authority to establish rules and regulations in reference to the management of the interest and business concerns of the county as the board considers necessary and proper in all matters not especially provided for in this act or under the laws of the state. So that gives you a lot of latitude in terms of how you set up the finance department, and the way that I look at this is essentially I'm starting the plan that many people have indicated should have been done years ago when this department was created. Unfortunately, I have to announce publicly what I learned yesterday, that Tim Onan, our drain commissioner, has submitted his resignation effective on March 20th of this month. Tim indicated to me that he was just simply not able financially to continue in the position. It's my belief, although we've submitted the matter to be reviewed by legal counsel, it's my belief that this is your appointment to make, since it's an elected position, but it's a non-constitutional office. More on that to come, obviously. On another matter with respect to the finance department, I have, in consultation with Finance Director Sean Collins, we have decided that we will not implement the account conversion that is currently required by the state of Michigan. We're primarily taking that step at the suggestion of our existing software vendor, and also those that we've been consulting with as possible replacement vendors, that a conversion now, if we're anticipating a change in software, that conversion would best occur at the time we actually do the software conversion rather than now. And we actually had a lengthy meeting yesterday with the Michigan Department of Treasury, Department of Local Government Assistance, and they understand our situation and basically defer to our auditor deferring us to our auditor regarding this decision. Last meeting, you approved the strategic planning, pursuing an RFP for the strategic planning process, and that RFP was released on March 6th. I believe at the early part of April, we're expecting responses back from that. One of the other items you'll see in your packet tonight is the PLAY HR payroll and human resources management software proposal. We're asking that you substitute frankly a more capable and less costly alternative to the Harris time clock solution that you approved back in the fall that we've yet to implement and yet to pay for, but you approved us acquiring an electronic payroll system. We're proposing to switch that, for you to rescind your decision regarding that system and to implement the PLAY HR payroll system. Finally, I reported to you last week, but I was required to, on an emergency basis, approve a solution for our backup solution for our information technology, basically the servers that store all of our documents. We were at in excess of 95% capacity, and we were getting warnings that we needed to eliminate some of the backup service points. And based upon information that I got from our IT director, initiated and authorized her to begin the purchase of approximately $20,000 of server backup capability. So that's basically my report. If there are any questions or things that I reported to you in the past that you'd like to have some further amplification on, I'd be happy to do so.
Any questions for Administrator?
Is there any update on grievances?
Grievances,
Union filed grievances.
we did resolve a couple of grievances recently. Yes, there was a grievance regarding the, I made a decision to allow, during the last snowstorm, at the beginning of the day, it wasn't sufficient to justify closing the building. And I was not able to reach the county board chair. I authorized department heads and elected officials that if they thought it was appropriate for their employees to leave at the earlier in the day, that we would authorize that they be paid to the end of the day. Primarily because I didn't want employees to choose between their personal safety and their paycheck. There was a grievance filed by the Teamsters regarding that. We resolved that recently by allowing some individuals that continue to work to receive 4 hours worth of paid time off. There was a couple individuals, primarily in the clerk's office, that were instructed that they were required to use vacation pay rather than to just be paid as I indicated. And we reimbursed them the 3.25 hours of vacation time that they took. A couple other grievances one was regarding the way we calculate salary. As you may be aware, we pay employees on a bi-weekly basis every 14 days, basically every 2 weeks. And as a result of that, some of our payroll actually overlaps dates of the fiscal year, our calendar fiscal year. And we had an employee that was complaining that he didn't receive the full amount of his 2025 pay in 2025. Although he received all of that. If you go back and look at both the portion of the payroll year that occurred in 2024 and the portion that occurred in 2026 and added all those things up together, it was the exact amount of the salary that he was entitled to. That grievance has been recently withdrawn by the union after management consultations. We also have a grievance regarding the way we calculate the reimbursement, or excuse me, not the reimbursement, but the payout of personal time. We pay that by the hour, and we calculated it in 1 year based on 280 days, because that's the number of days for work. Last year, we calculated on 281 days, because that's the number of days for work. And the complaint was that we should always calculate it based upon 2,080 hours, which would basically be 8 hours per day times 260, because that's generally a standard thing that many employers do, base all their years on 280 hours or 260 days, depending. We don't do that and have not done that for a long time. That was an issue that Kathy Hartsfeld, as finance director, convinced me that the way that we had done that calculation was accurate and we had paid our employees appropriately. And after consultation with the union, they've withdrawn that grievance as well. So that's an update regarding grievances.
Three of them.
Actually, it was, well, there's one of the grievances was was, yeah, you're right, yeah, there were three.
Oh, three
grievances,
separate.
Yeah, there were not multiple, I don't think there were multiple grievances filed in multiple units. I don't recall that. But yes, all three of those were resolved. So thank you. You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Not just regarding the drain commissioner, I guess if you could bring back a full report to us next Tuesday as the, I guess, the process, if that is the board, if it's not the board, just the process so the public knows as to how that process goes about.
Yeah, the drain committee, the replacement is set forth in the Drain Commission Act, and there actually are two. If you read them out of context, they are two apparently inconsistent provisions. One of which says the appointment of a temporary drain commissioner is done by the prosecuting attorney, I believe, and the clerk. The other says that you as the county board are responsible for that appointment. My reading of the act, and we'll get this confirmed by legal counsel, is that the temporary appointment by the prosecutor and the clerk is only occurs when there is a temporary absence or that sort of thing, and it's necessary for petitions to be continued, to be signed and dealt with, and that applies to a drain commission when you have eliminated the elected position. Some counties eliminate the elected position. We have not done so. If it's the replacement of an elected drain commissioner, as in our case, that is, by my reading of the act, done by the county commission. We'll have that verified by legal counsel, which we would normally do anyway. But, would also present you with what other alternatives you might have regarding filling that office. One of which could be, in fact, to eliminate the office of an elected drain commissioner and assign it to some other entity. Commonly, that's the road commission, board chair or a member of the road commission. In other counties, drain commissioners are often, that office is often filled by someone from the road.
Clerk, Hannah, do you have a response from the attorney or?
I do. I was under the impression that the administrator was going to wait for me to follow up on this, but when a vacancy occurs in the elective office of the county drain commissioner, a special 3-member panel comprised of the county clerk, prosecuting attorney, and senior presiding or probate judge shall appoint the suitable person to fill the vacancy, and that's MCL 168.209, parent 2. Michigan election law controls in this situation where a resignation has been submitted, not MCL 2.280.21 of the drain code, which addresses a temporary replacement, which the administrator just talked about, where that could be the county clerk and prosecutor if the drain commissioner is temporarily unable to execute duties. And there's no deputy drain commissioner, which in this case there isn't, but this is not a temporary replacement. This appointee will hold the office for the remainder of the unexpired term, but due to the resignation being on March 20th, 26, this will go on the August and the November ballot. So the 3 panel that will do the replacement for this is the probate judge, and I got that. I just saw it early this morning, about 6 for Matt Nordford. I haven't spoken to Jim because I didn't realize it was going to come up this morning. So that's how this is going to proceed unless the administrator's got a different legal opinion. And the only thing I'm waiting for, and I'm going to send this to you, but I've got one more call into Matt about this. And this is the same panel that appoints if there's a vacancy in the office of treasurer, register of deeds, or sheriff.
And then as far as the August election, would the filing deadline be the same? Then?
It'll be, I think it's in April. I don't have it. I was going to talk about it more when I was up on the agenda later, but it will be in April. So it'll be the same petitions, and it would be a balance of the term. Whoever would prevail in the election would take over after the election is certified in November, if we get it done in November. So that's just what I've got, and I just got that. I just saw it early this morning, so I haven't had a chance to forward it to anyone but the judge and the prosecutor. Okay.
Any other questions for our administrator? All right, if not, we'll move on to an update from the sheriff's office and update the sheriff.
We had one extra. Morning, everyone. Under Sheriff Jim Kiesel and Lieutenant Todd Roush will join me. I think it's gonna be a pretty bright outlook for this coming year based on what we're doing, based on what we're faced with, our personnel, budget, and everything. We had a very safe year this year, and I'll go over some statistics that you might find interesting. One of the questions has been, how many inmates do we have at the jail? We have 26 inmates. They break down as 12 from Leelanau County, 3 from tribal contract, and 11 from Grand Traverse County in a boarding contract for a total of 26. Our biggest hurdle remains as an agency in recruiting new people for the road especially. We're starting to get more corrections applications now, which is unusual. Normally we'll get probably 8 or 10 for road positions to everyone for corrections, and it's almost flip-flop now. A lot of factors, if you will, social factors out there with media and negativity toward police, but less and less interest in going into law enforcement. Talking about some of the things we deal with, right now, we have a canine vacancy. We have one person interested in being a canine officer, but that person just started a few months back and they need to become a full-fledged and, if you will, knowledgeable deputy before you hand a dog and more responsibility to them. So we're a few years out on that, although we do have funding to purchase a canine right now, thanks to the golf outings and your support. We have a good canine program in place. We just don't have anybody who's interested in it at this particular time. Same would go for the IRT position. I'm the only person functioning with IRT right now, and I have 2 vacancies for that. And again, that's something where you have to have at least probably 5 years experience, unless there's an extreme background effect on that, somebody from the military or whatever who has a good background. But yes, I'm sorry, IRT is Emergency Response Team. So that's part of Northern Michigan Mutual Aid. There's 23 counties, all of Northern Michigan in one consortium. And the IRT team is what you do when there's a call out, when it's something that the regular police force isn't going to handle. Like somebody shoots and kills people and they're holed up in a building or they're in the woods, you have to do a big search. So 2 functions of the Northern Michigan Mutual Aid. One would be IRT, Emergency Response Team, and one would be the dive recovery team when a person drowns, when there's a big search, anything to do with marine safety on and beyond normal marine patrol, or you may have extended patrols or all night or work with Coast Guard or other agencies. The Northern Michigan Mutual Aid dive team as a component there. We no longer have anybody in that right now. Basically, one retired and one was injured. So we have a hole there. We also have a hole for a detective right now. We have an individual we've selected as a second detective. They're getting way behind in their work, being the one we have right now. He is kind of swamped right now with CSAM, which is child sexually abusive material going on in phones and schools and so forth. So he's very overwhelmed in that, but we don't have enough people to cover the road at this time. We have 2 who are just now in their phase 3 of they've already done their academy. There's NMC sponsored recruits. They've already done their first 2 phases of FTO, and they're now in their 3rd phase of FTO. So when they get off that, if you will, the shadow phase, they'll be full-fledged deputies on probation for a year. And during that time, we will be able to start picking from those people and put the person we have on the road now into a detective position. And we also have one selected at this time to go to the NMC Academy, which starts at the end of August. And on Thursday, we're interviewing the 2 final candidates for the 2nd position. So one of those 2 will be invited to go to that academy, and we're hoping to get your support to put someone in the academy for this coming January. Without this NMC program locally here, which is sponsored by MCOLS, we just wouldn't have candidates right now, and our numbers, we wouldn't be able to patrol. We wouldn't be able to have contract with union, which requires at least 2 people be on every shift and so forth. So that's the negative side in personnel. I'm spending a lot of time, we all are, doing recruiting. Lieutenant Roush has made a bunch of posters for Marine Corrections in the road. Under Sheriff Kiesel and I have been interviewing, talked to people. Under Sheriff Kiesel handles the MCOLS assignments and all the paperwork involved with that. Friday, I was at the VFW in Traverse City on Veterans Drive recruiting military personnel. We're about to get out of the service to come in as deputies. Have 3 super candidates that look good. They'll be retiring between now and next August 18th of 27. Okay, a little interesting note here. We had 750 accidents in the county in 2025, and 390 of those were car deer accidents. Stop and think about that for a minute. It seems like every morning we got 1 or 2, especially on the west side of the county, but wherever there's a lot of traffic or where there was a lot of deer, that's becoming a bigger issue. So with 390 car deer accidents, we'll probably do some kind of a public service announcement, something regarding the October and November time periods especially, but even this time of year, we're getting 1 or 2 road kills a day, it seems like. So it's been a bit tedious. We've hit them with our patrol cars. Some of our patrol cars are down now due to car deer accidents. We just had one totaled last week. The accident was a few weeks ago, but we took it to the body shop, see if they could repair it. On these new modern cars, there's just nothing up front. They made them all lightweight. There's styrofoam behind the bumpers instead of steel to make them better mileage and all that. But when you hit a deer, there's a very good chance you could lose that car. Luckily, this car had somewhere around 100,000 miles, Jim. So it was one that would be scheduled in the near future for replacement anyway. And we'll see how that's going. But car deer are a big thing for the public. And there's a lot of fatals in Michigan every year where deer come through windshields or people swerve away from a deer and hit another car head on or go off the road into trees. So that's an issue. All right, so 750 accidents, 390 were car deer. 675 of those were property damage accidents, meaning there was damage, significant damage to the vehicle. 73 were personal injury accidents. So that involves hospital and so on and so forth. 32 were distracted driving. This is cell phones, iPads on the dash, watching movies, shaving in the car, eating, steering with your knees while you're holding a cup of ice cream, eating with the other hand, your typical distracted driving we see out there. 40 involve drugs or alcohol. And you will not see the proportion of drugs being as high as they are, but usually there's one, there's the other. But the drug, the marijuana especially, has been something that's affecting a lot of driving. However, it's hard to prove on our end. There's not containers and bottles all over like there are with beer, wine, or whiskey bottles. It doesn't have that alcoholic beverage aroma in the air, so they're harder to enforce. So we tend to prosecute and go for the alcohol portion of that. But a lot of them, and a very, very high percentage of them, are other types of drugs. And that can be fentanyl, carfentanil, heroin, cocaine, any types of the methamphetamines, and especially marijuana. We had 1 bike fatal last year. Bike failed to stop on the trail, went across in front of a vehicle pulling a pontoon boat on 633. It was how we kind of started out our summer. That was a horrific event, especially for one of our new deputies who had just been on a very short period of time, had to police that. So those are bad things. Bike accidents on trails are not recorded by us, but there were a lot of EMS emergency calls with bikes losing it on gravel or hitting other bikes or people having some kind of medical on them. But as far as the bike fatal, there was 1. As far as reported bicycle car accidents, there was 3, and those are only ones where there's an accident involving a car and a bike. So again, that doesn't include all the off-road stuff. We had 1 car fatal on M22 where a vehicle was jumping past another vehicle, hit another vehicle head on. And that was recently adjudicated in court. And we had 1 drowning in Sutton's Bay at the marina. They were not boating. There was a social gathering on the dock at a boat. And in the morning, they realized 1 person had lost balance, went in the water and drowned. So relatively safe year for us with 1 bike fatal, 1 car fatal, and 1 drowning. And if you think of all the hours and all the people who recreate in boats and, in kayaks and canoes and large boats and everything else, to have only 1 drowning at a marina setting at a social gathering is pretty impressive. So I give a lot of credit to our Marine Safety Division. We continue to have a 0 tolerance policy for life preservers. Everything else they can warn for, but when it comes to life preservers, if they're juveniles, we take them home and write the parents. And if they're adults, we'll write a ticket. If there's 5 of them, we'll probably write 1 ticket, let them split it. But we're trying to make the point, you must have a life preserver. in my career in DNR, dealt with a lot of drownings over 32 years, and as sheriff now for 14 years. I've been in plenty of boats. There's been a numerous issue with the drownings in the county, and body recovery sometimes don't take a day, a week. Sometimes we have a couple that are still missing in this county. In particular in Glen Lake, we have two still missing over the years. And body recoveries and drownings are a serious thing. So I commend those people for doing the work they do to keep people safe on their boats and operating. Corrections staff doing a wonderful job. That's just clean when you're down there, and I invite the board to come down anytime you want to arrange it with me. We'll go down there and do a tour. You can talk to all the deputies. You can talk to anybody but the inmates. As far as I'm concerned, you can talk to inmates, but that's not the proper protocol. But I don't care if you ask them, they'll tell you that the corrections deputies are treating them with very, very high respect, and they're not there to be punished. They're there to serve a sentence. Our deputies go a long way making sure that they're safe. We're their fiduciary, meaning we have to provide their drugs for them. We have to provide their alcohol treatment, their religious counseling, if they have financial issues, their commissary. Our job is to take care of them while they're in jail. So, and there's a little misnomer out there about the numbers in the jail. We may book 8 or 10 people, and there's a head count early in the morning. And a lot of times people are booked during the day, but by the next morning, they're already bonded out or released. So there's really more jail activity than you think as far as activity level. And again, if you ever like to coordinate coming down as a group or us putting on a scenario for you of what we have to deal with, we're more than willing to do that. Other than that, the roadside done very, very well. Again, do I get complaints? Yes. And usually after 20 or 30 minutes of harping at me, people say, well, I was speeding. I was just mad. Well, did the deputy swear at you? Did the deputy take something while a receipt? Did the deputy hit you? No. Well, then what is your complaint? I'm just mad. Well, I could have got a warning. Well, you probably driving a little slower. You probably would have had a warning. But our deputies tend to rate people. The last ticket I just saw on the counter this morning was for 5 over. And that might sound nitpicky until you look at the radar shoots, and it was 73, 74, 73 in a 55. So they're almost 20 miles an hour over speed limit, but the deputies do a good job with writing, and police officers do this around the country. You hear a lot of stories about, oh, cops are nitpicky and they're giving me ticket, and I got a ticket, my son got a ticket for 5 over. And kind of like Paul Harvey, it's not the rest of the story included with that. So that was the last ticket I saw, and I respect that. Our deputies are having a very difficult time on the road dealing with mental health issues that is increasing, not decreasing. They're putting a ton of time, money, and effort into it. It's one of the reasons no one wants to be a cop anymore. You're just dealing with one issue after another with either organic mental health issues or drug or alcohol-induced alcohol problems. So when you have the constant, it wears on the deputies. When you constantly go to calls of domestics or child abuse, or you start going to things where you're dealing with this, it's very hard on the deputies. It's not the old days in law enforcement. I think that's probably one of the reasons we're having trouble recruiting people. But in general, this is still a wonderful county and a safe place to live. I don't advocate people leave their keys in their car unlocked. I don't advocate you leave your house unlocked, but I know a lot of people do. And insurance companies won't cover that. If you leave your keys in the car and your car is stolen, there's some responsibility on your part, if not all. Same way with your house. If your house is broken into and you don't lock it, there's going to be insurance ramifications as well. So we recommend people treat their house and their car like anybody would anywhere. But honestly, it's a very, very safe place to live, work, and play, and we're very proud of it. As sheriff, I have an awesome staff on our management side. I have awesome staff in terms of who we have on the road and who we're recruiting. So I'm very, very pleased. It's an honor to serve of the 83 counties. This is the county to be in as sheriff or to work in. So I'm very appreciative of your support as a board. You've supported us since I've been sheriff in 2012. After the election, we've had support, and I do appreciate that. It's not always easy to delve out money to projects and things, and you want to keep the budget as tight as you can, but I do appreciate your support. And other than questions, that's probably all I have.
Questions? Mr. Robbins?
Where are you at with March, and I think you're projecting August? Where are you at with the school program, what program that you set up in schools?
In terms of the daily patrols or the,
I thought when we gave you a position, you put an officer in the schools come August, you told us.
We would like to do that. Right now, we don't have enough personnel. I don't know what we'll have by August. And as far as in the schools, in a school resource position, we really don't have a school resource position because of the needs on the road. So as much time as anybody can spend walking the schools, yes, I do probably a lot of it. I'm in the schools 2 or 3 days a week minimum and get the deputies there as much as we can to the games and patrolling. But as far as a person assigned right to schools, we don't have
So
it
there
right
hasn't been
now.
any groundwork
No.
since.
No.
the past budget.
No, no.
One other question is, what's the chances of getting a marine safety school during the summer for the kids in our county?
Really good chance.
But we haven't done it in years.
We've had 4, since Charlie Belangi retired, we've had 4 Marine commanders, 1 former conservation officer, 1 former trooper, 1 former Ford executive, and now we're having a corrections deputy who's retiring next week. Carrie Garten will be taking over the Marine program. That'll be one of the things we'll want to do. We're going to offer out. And we probably host it at the sheriff's office rather than in the schools. We've talked before about, hunter safety in the school, marine safety, gun safety
I'm
things.
talking like in the summertime when our depths.
But in the summer, we have those that probably be run by the commander and at least 2 of the deputies be there with them while we have 1 on call on patrol. And we did that for years. Grand Traverse does it, Antrim does it, other counties. We have just been in flux with who's commanding it, getting boats, having enough deputies run. We're running 1 shy right now in Marine. Friday, when I was recruiting at the VFW, we found 2 people down there who want to get out of Coast Guard, work Marine, which is really nice. That's your 3 to 4 month a year job. When Kerry Garten takes over, he's got 33 years in correction and he's retiring next week. And this past Friday, we had a 27-year deputy and a 38-year deputy both retire out of corrections. So we're filling and putting people in there. We're doing a lot of recruiting and interviewing. But when Kerry Garten retires from that, he has to be gone for 60 days. That'll be between March 20th and May 20th. And on May 20th, he takes over as our new Marine commander. And he is an outdoor and a boat guy. He'll do a fantastic job in that. I hope to have stability for at least 5 years in that position. So we're not always putting a new commander in every year like we have for the last 5.
Would it be, I can remember last year there was a deer accident as well with a patrol car. Would it be worthwhile to put a deer bumper on the front of those cars?
That's a great question. The DNR and state police went into test. So all our cars, when I was a conservation officer, owned by Motor Transport Division, MTD in Lansing. So they're fleet management vehicles. They put deer whistles and bumpers on half the cars and they put them on half on the other. When you put the factory engineers those cars such that pounds matter, and you start adding heavy equipment up front that wears on your brakes more, that changes your suspension and so on and so forth. When the DNR did it with deer whistles and the state police did it with deer whistles, they found 50-50. You still hit just as many deer with a deer whistle or not. Remember, they had those silent whistles like dog whistles and they were supposed to work. And state police cars have, most of them, not all, but I think most of them have bumper guards up front. That's something we could do. It's an additional expense. So we self-insure our cars, and is it worth the expense in doing it? That's a good question. Jim is our vehicle maintenance person. I guess I would defer to if we had to look into that. Maybe we try them on half the cars or 3 of the cars. And if we get an accident, what does that do? It doesn't prevent damage. It depends how that deer hits and impacts. But I know with the state, part of the reason the state police have them is to push cars off the road. If there's like a vehicle broken down on a expressway or highway, they'll take that front bumper, ease up to a car and push it off the road. That's one of the reasons they use bumpers for a long time. Another is for deer and accidents. So something we haven't done at this point, but doesn't mean we can't.
So I do know it causes wear even on the tires, and brakes.
It does.
That stuff like it. It adds weight. So I just wondered if we had enough deer, if that would be worthwhile.
Our undersheriff could research that and we could maybe do some background check on that and check with other agencies.
We've looked at push bump, guards on the front 6 times in the last 10 or 12 years. And usually the cost has always been the prohibitive measure. I mean, to outfit all the cars, and it's probably at least $1,000 a car to do the whole thing by the time you buy the equipment and have somebody put it on.
I think also, if I remember correctly, some years ago when we did look at that, the mechanism of which these car deer accidents were occurring, they weren't all front impact collisions. A lot of times a deer running into the side or the back of the car, so the bumper's not gonna do you any good anyway.
Or it misses the push bumpers, like a direct on hit, hits the side. Those seem to be the worst, to be honest with you. Because you get the bumper, the grill, the lower part, you get all the moldings around the wheels, so. But we could, if you want, we can look into that. We'll look at other agencies and what they've done.
The one that's on the agenda for later for replacement, it's kind of a multi-factor thing. It was an older car slated to go into the pool for 1 year and then be sold probably next year. The cost to fix it really wasn't, it was roughly $6,000, but just given the age, because it was a 2019 with the miles that are on it, the insurance company made the decision that it wasn't worth putting that money into to keep it out and about.
I
So
know, I read the resale value was around $6,000, is what you said.
I believe they gave us 9 for this one.
They're also paying to remove the
Right.
police equipment, and the car had 134,000 miles.
That's a big expense. Luckily, they haven't changed the models of vehicles. These interceptors we're using, they're pretty much the same every year, at least on the interior. We're able to reuse our radio consoles and all our brackets because that labor to go in, the equipment to buy, and then the operation and maintenance as they go on. Like, for instance, my siren went out. We had a ERT call about 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night. A guy was shooting at deputies up in Charlevoix County, so we all headed over there. On the way over, my bright lights wouldn't come on and my siren wouldn't work. So luckily, between Ford being good to us at Fox Motors and between Radio North being good, we got them both in, got them fixed, but that stuff happens. It's the ongoing maintenance. But when you start adding stuff to the factory package, there's a lot of maintenance, a lot of things that break down, even with those consoles we have set up. So it's just it's a constant balancing act of keeping vehicles up and running on the road. Under Sheriff does a good job managing that fleet, and it's a lot of work. I appreciate what he does on that. Yes.
Most of our impact on the sheriff has to do with budget and like that. Now, when we originally talked, there was talk about school liaison, but I think by the time that conversation had ended, that had been put aside. And before I gotta say, I sure do appreciate the presence of uniforms in schools. I can't understate how important I think that is, that young people see police officers as not as they're so often projected in videos and news coverage, but as actual members of the community. And I know that's a priority of yours, and I appreciate that priority. But anyways, if you could just talk a little bit on how that originated, but I think by the end, your thought was, look at, we have officers all the time in these schools.
We're in and out of the schools. And what my original thought was to take Empire and Glen Arbor townships, add them in with Glen Lake School and have like a tri-funded position. The school was all in on it at Glen Lake, Empire not so much. And my idea was you'd have a liaison in that school during school hours, school year. And then that person in the summer when school was off would work Glen Arbor and Empire, where all the people are at all the beaches and all the traffic over there, traffic jams. That didn't fly as is. So we looked at some of the ideas Commissioner Robinson I talked about were maybe 50% detective and 50% school liaison. And we really haven't taken off the ground. That was an additional position. That was not pulling a deputy off the road. That was for an additional position to get someone as school liaison officer. Then that kind of morphed into what my long-term goal was. I'd love to see, like Benzie County has 2 school resource officers or SROs, and they did it with a millage. I would love to see 1 school resource officer in this county whose entire job is going school to school, school to school, or 7 schools in the county, and spend time at Montessori, Glen Lake, or not Empire, Glen Lake, Pathfinder, Leland, Northport, Suds Bay, spend time in the schools on a random basis. I would make their hours random So in other words, they might be there 6 in the morning when traffic's coming into school. They might be there at 10 at night, the end of a football game. Kind of let that person work with the school officials, say what works for you. We do that somewhat in Sutton's Bay now with our contract position there. Bob Newman is doing a great job covering Sutton's Bay. And he's around. And if he needs flexibility, they have a board meeting that night or they have a big game at school, he can flex, works with them, works with us. So I like the idea of a school liaison person because if you will, bad people will never know when there's a police officer in the school because we're in there randomly. Plus you'll have a random SRO who will be in and out of the schools. And when there's problems like you had over on Mission Point Peninsula a few weeks back, remember the guy went to school with a hammer and start breaking in the front of the school. When there's problems, it's nice to know you have an SRO in the area. And they also specialize in handling school complaints, of which right now CSAM, child sexually abusive material, is predominating problems in schools. We're not getting a lot of graffiti. We're not having a lot of assaults. Basically, they have bad stuff on their phones and they're sharing it with other kids. And where they're getting it, it's out there, it's on the internet. We try to do computer and, if you will, cyber type talks with the kids, and we're getting good support from the community. We're going to schools, but it's in one ear and out the other. It's kind of like drunk driving. There's most people will listen to it, but there's some that continue to drunk drive or drug drive or whatever. It's the same way with this CSAM, but we're finding a lot of it. And SRO would spend a lot of time working on CSAM with the schools. Kids are stupid at that age, let's face it. We all were at that age, and they need guidance. We don't need to make a felon out of everybody, and having that hands-on, that person in the school, I think is valuable to support the school admin, the kids, as well as the community. Because if you have problems in communities, most of it comes from the schools, because it depends how they're raised, how they're taken care of, what the norms are. And if we have bad behavior in the schools, that moves out on past the schools to the streets, so.
Commissioner Robbins, you have another question?
Yeah, just two quick things. In the future for next year, is there any way that we could get this like a week early?
Yeah, we just got them done like Friday, we'll try. So by
Because-
the time we get our materials,
Yeah,
but yeah, what we can do,
then we go home and then.
you have time to
see it for
regurgitate it.
here and, you know, and I guess the other thing too, I wanted to run by you, trying to help you guys out, is on your recruiting, because I am hopefully next month, by May, I'm trying to get us as a board to revisit the take-home county-wide policy on our take-home cars and trying to increase your mileage. Hoping that maybe that will help you recruiting. So we are trying to work with you.
Well, I appreciate that very much, because a lot of people, in fact, we had two specifically live in Benzie County outside. We have a 10-mile take-home car policy. So we have a zone. And the idea was not to make it abusive and too far. Like, what if you lived in Gaylord? Are we going to pay for a county car to go back and forth to Gaylord? No, it's ridiculous. But we have had a 10-mile zone. It was 5, we expanded to 10. And we missed a few good people who live down like by Fife Lake or by, more like Thompsonville. If we had expanded 5 to 10 miles and they had a take-home car, they would have come to work for us. And having the ability to drive an extra 5 miles each way or 10 miles each way, yes, it's going to cost a little gas, but that person, you're still employing a person. You're not getting this constant rotation of people. Come here, take a job somewhere else, $5 more an hour, or they can't afford delivery. That's the biggest factor we face, as well as everybody in general public. It's expensive to live in Leelanau County, and our expense has now gone down into northern Benzie and northern Grand Traverse. It's expensive everywhere up here. So having the ability to increase that mileage a little bit, even if it's 5 miles, so we expanded from 10 to 5 would be a big help. And in my eyes, that would be ideal, because I, for one, don't think we should be driving from here to Fife Lake every day with a county car. It just seems like that's a lot. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Questions?
Thank you.
I understand you've been here for quite some time.
25 years and
Well,
2
with
weeks.
that, recently we did a policy or procedure where we like to recognize individuals that have been here. And I guess this month you've come to 25 years. So I got something here for you, just to honor you for that. So
Thank you.
Service for the county.
We have in our service bars on our uniforms, when we wear the external vest, we don't wear service bars, but commendation bars, but Jim and I have ours. We have a bar every 5 years. in increments. So I know yours is 25 and you're getting your 25. So even though he doesn't have it on, we appreciate the support for any of it. Any of our people do that. It's wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, next we have an update from Michelle Klein, Leelanau District Health Department.
Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to stop by and give you an update on where we are with the childcare scholarships for the county. Just to make sure we're on track with what you all are envisioning before we take the next big steps. So I gave you a written update. We did, when we started talking, we weren't really sure where to start. So knowing we have a couple $100,000, how do we best spend that money? We did some surveying of the providers, childcare providers in the county, as well as families that are using those childcare providers, just to get a sense of how many kids are in care, what's the daily cost, what would be helpful for them, what would make a significant difference. So with all of that, we did some data analysis. And so what we came up with is offering a $30 a day stipend or scholarship for families who have kids ages 6 and under that live in Leelanau County and are attending a Leelanau County daycare or childcare. And then looking at our numbers, we're going to initially open up an application period for families that are 225% of poverty and below. We're anticipating there's about 30 or 35 children in the county that we're going to be able to help with this initial pot of money. So we didn't want everybody to apply and then have to, go through all those applications and a lot of rejections. So we're going to start with 225% of poverty. If for some reason that doesn't expend all the money, then we can open it up again, to 250% of poverty. So the payments would go directly to the providers and not to the families. We'll have providers will enroll, they'll sign an agreement. Families that are participating, they have an application process. They'll need to, show proof of income, proof of residency, and then they also will sign an agreement. And then the payments will go, the providers will report that, yes, these kids were here, and then we'll pay them monthly for those kids. So we're looking at starting with the childcare providers enrollment in April, and then opening applications May and June for families to apply. And hopefully we'll have everything in place. So August 1st, we can start, providing those scholarships. Does anyone have any questions or any thoughts or feedback? Yes, Gwen.
I'm very heartened to see this assistance. And I guess I'll thank Commissioner Bunnick for having this idea and for you for working it out. I would like to share that when 50 years ago.
Yeah, it feels like 50 years ago.
When I was a single mom and with munchkins, getting assistance, childcare helped me go back to school and reposition myself so that I can participate in society in a productive way. But without that help, I could not have done it.
Yes.
So if this makes the difference for some families, that's very important.
And that was a question we asked, right? Would this kind of assistance allow someone to work more or to go to school? And that certainly came out in the positive that yes, it would, along with, of course, paying all of the other expenses that come with having kids. So
it's a critical need.
It is, yeah. Childcare, when you think about, $15,000 a year to pay for childcare, that is a big lift for families.
I do appreciate all the work that you've done on it. I do think this is a good use of that early childhood fund.
Yeah, okay. And I want to, for those who don't know, Hannah Greenidge is our parenting community supervisor. So she's integral in putting all of this stuff together. It's not a me show, and one day it'll be all her and I'll be retired. So yeah, so we appreciate your support on this, and let me know, if anyone has any questions or thoughts, just where to find me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, next we'll open it up to public comment. First, we'll start out with members of the public that would wish to give a 1-minute general topic. And then we'll move on to 3 minutes. So we have any members that wish to offer public comment for 1 minute? Kim.
Good morning. My name's Kim Rosansky and I'm in Cleveland Township. At the last board meeting, a citizen, Jim White, was interrupted during public comment by Commissioner Wessel and told he did not have the right to say what he was about to say. After that meeting, Commissioner Wessel was quoted in the newspaper saying that the information Mr. White referenced was leaked and it was illegal. That statement is completely untrue. Let me clarify. The information Mr. White referenced had already been circulating within the county government and had also been obtained through a FOIA request. Discussing information already in the public domain is not illegal. Citizens should be able to address their government without being accused of wrongdoing for simply asking questions. Public meetings are meant to encourage participation, transparency, and not discourage it. And given concerns that have been raised in the past about whether all voices are treated with equal respect in public meetings, it's especially important that citizens feel welcome to speak openly at this table. For that reason, I believe Commissioner Wessel should correct the record and clarify that Mr. White's remarks were neither improper or illegal. Thank you very much.
Anybody else wish to give a 1 minute public comment? Mr. White?
Good morning. My name is Jim White. I'm a resident of Suttons Bay. I want to address an email that was mistakenly sent to me several weeks ago by Commissioner Wessel proposing that Steve Yoder and Jim Dyer meet privately with him to discuss County Clerk Michelle Crocker's, quote, recent behaviors, unquote. I was taken aback by that email, a proposal for 2 elected officials to meet privately with an unelected employee to discuss the county clerk raises serious concerns about transparency and compliance with the spirit of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. I had no intention of making that email public. However, after Mr. Wessel publicly suggested that some of my comments to this board might be of, quote, illegal, unquote, I believe it is entirely appropriate for me to ask him to explain his own actions. The public deserves a clear explanation of why that meeting was proposed, what its purpose was, and whether it reflects the standards of openness and accountability our residents expect. I look forward to hearing that explanation. Thank you.
Any other public comment for those that wish to give a 1 minute? All right, if not, we'll move on to the 3 minutes. Public comment where everything you speak is agenda specific. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Deb Kuhn. I live in Centerville Township. I am a member of the League of Women Voters, the Early Childhood Needs and Services, and I am on the board of Leelanau Montessori, who has a preschool. And I just wanted to thank you for the help that you will be providing to those 30 families. I'm not sure you know, but the average rate of daily, the day rate is up to $60, $65 for families. So this will help them at about 50%. And that will make the difference for families who have to commute to work and who have to make ends meet. So thank you so much for doing this. I don't need 3 whole minutes, but it was on the agenda. So I waited till then to point out how important this is and how proud I am of our county for taking this up. So thank you.
Yeah. Any other public comment? All right, thank everybody for coming. Next up, we have commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Elgar?
I would like just to, since our health director is here, Dan Thorell, he was involved in a Zoom presentation this, I guess it was last week, on the proposed septic ordinance for the state. It has not passed. It was an excellent presentation. I imagine it's still available for anyone. Those things are usually available for anyone who'd like to still see it. But it does take the time period from 5 years to 10 years. In an earlier proposal, it was 5, but that was just an opening bid. because when things are negotiated, the time always expands. As we all know, Benzie County's failure rate on septic inspections after 30-some years is down to 5%. Ours is still 15. But in 20, 25 years, oh, it won't take that long, I don't think. We can look forward to the same thing. So I think this is an important step forward. And if, again, you'd like to know what they are working on, the Zoom, I assume would be available through Flow, wouldn't it, Jim?
I think so.
Yeah.
If you go to the Philadelphia Water Flow website, I think it's flowwateradvocates.com or something like that.
So I thank our health director for being part of that.
Any other commissioner comments? Yeah, Bill?
I talked to Tim yesterday, our drain commissioner also, and I do want to clarify that it was because of a business, you know, he and his brother are surveyors and through some health problems, that's why he had to leave it. I give him credit for not, you know, this is not a bail and run. He had, I mean, this was gonna happen regardless of what public comment might be. But I think we've learned a lot about the public comment, and we've learned a lot about the concerns of the public. And I would like to know our options before we simply select, if you will, a new drain commissioner, which means we would work with the clerk and the prosecutor. But before we just fill a position that I think was failing, not because of the person who was in it, but because the role of drain commissioner had changed so drastically in the last 2 years. As in, now we have drains, and 3-4 years ago, we did not have drains. And we've never addressed it, that we said the position pays $21,000 a year. To really expect someone to do the job of managing those drains for that amount of money, I think is unrealistic. We're just setting the next person up for failure. So does that, I'm looking to Jim for help on that as far as what I know it's an elected position, you can't do a lot between, but this may be an opening since there isn't anyone in that position. For looking at salaries, looking at help, looking at changing what that office has done in its scope.
Yes, one of the things that I have was working on when Tim announced his resignation, was working on a plan that would provide some backup support for him within the administration office. In fact, we're actually working on that proposal with him, but you know, we can continue to pursue that as one option among several others.
I just think we need to look at it. I don't know if we need to put it on our agenda for our next meeting with possibilities, but to just throw someone else into the fire doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And it's not Tim's fault, really. This thing was designed as a 1 day a week, maybe 2 day a week job, and that's not what it is. So it's up to us to make that definition, I think, as far as what we're willing to compensate and what we expect that compensation will bring.
All right. Commissioner Robbins, do you have any comment?
Last night I got there a little late, but I went to Elmwood Township meeting, which is in my district, and I know some of you kind of forget that in my district, a square mile belongs to the city. And what I learned last night was on Carter Road, where the city has their apartments. I think just got approved last night by the township. We were putting 31 units in there, so they are working on housing. Even though it's in the city, it's still in Leelanau County. I just want to share that there's sometime this year, they're gonna break ground for 31 units. And on another note, I got a text after the meeting started, on Mark Allen, Deb Allen's deceased husband. There will be a celebration of life on April 24th in Traverse City.
When and where?
Yeah,
What time and where?
I don't know where, it's gonna be April 24th in Traverse City. I mean, the funeral's gonna be downstate where his family and friends are, but there's gonna be a celebration of life on April 24th.
You, any other commissioner comments?
I needed just to correct something. We all received a letter and it referred to a newsletter that I put out to my constituents. And it left the impression that I had in my newsletter included a statement which was not, could be construed as not being, could be disparaging against the finance director. I did not write that statement. The statements I wrote were Finance Director Cohen came across as friendly and accommodating. Commissioners share the hope of Administrator Jim Dyer that he will fill the position in a permanent role, lifting the Finance Department into a fully staffed operation capable of handling the books without personnel subcontracted from the county auditing firm or borrowed from other departments. I also wrote, his first impression is excellent. His resume suggests that he has the knowledge to serve the county well. And to the point out, as far as public information, I have only included public information in my newsletter. I think public information deserves to be disseminated. And I feel very strongly that the protection of citizens to have access to that information is one of the cornerstones of our country. So, thank you.
Commissioner comments? All right, if not, we'll move on to our first action item, which is from the sheriff's office, was celebrate cyber investigator training. The undersheriff here.
Good morning again. In some aspects, I believe, at least in my opinion, this is more or less a formality. Asking for the school, it is budgeted, it is within our means now. However, the amount that's required for this school is above my policy given authorization to spend. I'm happy to answer questions about the program. We have it here. We've had it in-house for probably close to 15 years, with the retirement last year of one of our detectives. The one that we're looking to move into that position shortly would take that over. We have it in-house because as things happen, I mean, there's probably right now 20 plus cell phones in this room. Everybody has them. And if we have the in-house position, we're able to, through the right channels, whether that be warrants or whatever it would be, access information on those phones immediately. Whereas if we solely rely on the state police for phones, they can help us with computers and stuff. It could be 4, 6, 8 weeks before we get that information back. And a lot of times that's just not feasible for the investigation at hand. So we're looking to send this new person to that school. He has what looks like at least 5 to 7 years here with the agency. So it's not money that would be short spent in any way. It is a very intense, full-fledged school. Once you go, you have to be committed to it, which we've been told he is. So more or less, like I said, it's get authorization to spend the money for which we're already budgeted in half.
Your money?
Yeah, I move to recommend that the County Board of Commissioners allow the Sheriff's Office to register Corporal Scott Robinson for the Celebrate virtual training that will be held April 13th through 17th, 2026. The cost not to exceed $4,845, with the funds to come from the account 301.069. 0.966.
Support, moved and supported. Discussion? Not all in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Next up, we have emergency management performance grant. We have that here.
Good morning. All right, this is a little later than normal due to the government shutdowns and whatnot. We haven't been able to get this grant before you. I've already done the first quarter reporting on this grant, believe it or not. But as you'll see, this is we see a slow decrease every year in the funding that we receive, but it is it's something towards compensating for my salary and the requirements that are in those quarterly reports. We have to complete those in order to remain compliant for reimbursement funding if we do endure another disaster like we did in August of 2015. So I will continue to report on those quarterlies, but the performance grant is before you for acceptance.
Walter?
I move to recommend the County Board of Commissioners allow Chairman of the Board to sign an EMPG work agreement and allow the Leelanau County Office of Emergency Management to submit electronic signatures for required quarterly report.
Second.
Supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, we got the clerk for a couple items on our agenda.
Perfect timing. Hopefully you all had a chance to read the short but sweet EDSs. I did email them to you all. Did everyone get them? Okay, the first one is regarding staffing overlap. And due to an upcoming FMLA leave in my office and a departure from the clerk's office, I'm requesting for staff overlap for training purposes. And just to give you a little background, it is budget neutral as the Board of Commissioners approved an election position, as you know, for 4 days per week for this year for 2026, which I have not yet filled. I would like to be able to increase that to a full-time position with benefits until the end of the FMLA leave or end of 26, whichever is later. The increase of 1 day will be budget neutral as the FMLA leave will result in at least the 30 days of unpaid time. And I just wouldn't fill the 4 days that you have for election. With the early voting, mandatory training by the county clerk, the court, and we're anticipating a system upgrade, CPLs, vitals, and all the other duties. Without this overlap, it's going to place an undue burden on staff just to keep up with the workflow. And with the adding of the 1 day, it will combine with that 4. And so that's what I'm looking for, is just that overlap, because I'm not comfortable taking that 4-day election position if I'm going to use it universally throughout the office to get them trained in everything.
You have a motion?
Of course, you sent that separately and nobody printed the copy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, would you like mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
finding.
You opened it.
Well,
I saw
Yeah,
it.
I apologize. I should have had it printed for.
I could
everybody.
print them
Yeah.
if you. Would you
Might
like-
as well give me a second.
No, but
No,
you-
I had other stuff.
I move to the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners allow the staff overlap training requested by the county clerk.
Second.
Is that it?
Moved and supported, discussion? Not,
Thank you for your work on elections. Excellent job.
Okay.
Exciting much.
Yeah. So,
any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0.
okay, the second item is, and I'll just, because I did email it and you probably don't have your copy with you or up on your screen. I know you opened it because I saw that you did.
Yes.
But I will just read what it says.
Thank
Just, you got it, right? Do you want me to go make copies of these?
I just gave it
Okay,
right next to
I'll
Mark.
just read it.
I put the two next to you.
This is on Tuesday, February 17th of 26. I was copied on an attorney-client privilege opinion dated February 16th, 2026, issued by CST Municipal Law, which is Cole, Stoker, and Toskey, PC. Due to the nature of the document, I am requesting that the privilege be waived so that I can share the important information with my staff as it will enhance my office operations. This is also relative to many issues under consideration by the Board of Commissioners and is also of public interest. In my opinion, I do not see any downside or harm that would come to the county by releasing the reference document. The opinion is a restatement and summary of the law in Michigan on the office of the county clerk and its statutory duties and obligations as to the Board of Commissioners in the clerk's capacity as secretary to the Board of Commissioners. Should you need to refresh your recollection of the attorney-client privilege document I am referring to, I am happy to provide you with a copy in the sealed envelope. And I did bring copies in case anyone wanted to take a moment to review what it was. And then I have a proposed motion at the bottom of the EDS.
Mr. Walton,
I move that Leelanau County Board of Commissioners waive the release of the attorney-client privilege letter of February 16, 2026, opinion from CST Municipal Holstorfer, Koski PC as reference.
Second.
moving supported, discussion?
So I'm wondering what this is about.
Would you like to see the copy of it?
Yes, please.
What I have stated in there, I did not ruin across any line. I did run my language by both attorneys that signed the draft, both Attorney Toski and Nordford, because I didn't want to cross any.
Something that we decide next week.
Or you have to pass it to date.
Yeah, pass.
But again, I don't see anything in here since it's about me. Oh, did anyone else want a copy? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're able to keep this as long as you keep it confidential.
I just might comment that I'm consistent on this. I think unless there are legal reasons, usually pending litigation, that these types of opinions should be open to the public. And I believe that sometimes we think we are the public. No, the folks out there pay for it. It's not our opinion, it's the public's opinion, because that's who paid for it, that's who we work for. So I understand the times we can't, and I understand there's times you gotta keep your mouth shut, you don't talk about it. But in this type of a case, when we're really talking about internal walls and doors within county government, I think the public is better off, by far better off, knowing what's happening in the responsibilities of our different offices as interpreted by an attorney that was paid for through taxpayer money. Off my soapbox.
That's right, I think you're right. And I like that this letter does describe what the clerk does very well.
So I'm really uncomfortable with this. Is this something I can take and study?
Yes, you've had it since the 17th of February.
Okay.
You can take and study it, but what it is it's a restatement and summary of the law law in Michigan on the office of the county clerk and the statutory duty and obligations.
And obviously, this is not something that we need to make a quick decision about.
I mean, no, this is formality, then it'll be, if it passes here, it goes on to next Tuesday's agenda.
Correct.
So it's just pretty much a vote to release it to next Tuesday.
But we already have this.
Correct.
We received it we looked at it.
In February.
Looked at it.
You had copies, you should have a copy from last month.
But you can keep that one as long as you keep it confidential.
We
we handed it.
No,
I
unless you
think
gave them to Administrator Dyer. I don't know. I don't know if they gave them all back.
I know Al kept his, to take home and study.
You are free to keep those.
Yeah, I don't know who kept it or.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Al kept his, take home and study, and the rest of it, no, you kept yours too.
Yeah.
I don't wanna take that stuff home, because I'll screw up, and lose it. So, but we all read it in the closed session.
So is this that you would like to counter the resolution we're gonna consider next week?
That has nothing, no,
It's
that
got
was,
nothing to do with
Okay.
this.
Yeah,
All right. Then
all right.
we'll think.
And any other discussion? Not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0. All right, next we got the early vote.
okay. So I will read this one to you all. It is tentatively the agreement and wishes of the township clerks to continue with early voting at the government center, with the county clerk serving as the coordinator of the joint early voting site, and the county designated as the party responsible for requesting and dispensing all funds related to early voting. I do want to note that me serving as the coordinator of this is not statutory duty. I'm not obligated to do this. It is a responsibility of the township clerks, but they would like to keep it the same. The prior agreement that we had did expire at the end of 25. So this is a new agreement, and unless it is severed, it will continue on. I'm just looking really for concurrence because the decision to serve as a coordinator really is mine to make as county clerk. But barring that, whether I would or I wouldn't, I do think it went very well in 24. I think it was well received by the public because early voting is a constitutional amendment. We do have to have it. And there was money to be saved by doing it here as opposed to every single township, given how much staffing they have to do. So I am looking for concurrence, at least, some head nods, that there's no objections from the commissioners with at least one thing, and that's the government center serving as the early voting site for the county. I guess, and if there were objections, I would hope that you could hold them off till maybe the year 28. Because, and I say that only because it costs about $14,000 because we would have to re-notify every citizen and registered voter
Of a different venue.
and then we're going to charge the township of that. And so I just think to get another thing under our belt, it worked better here. So I guess that would be my first question is everyone good with this site?
I think it's a great, a great thing for all the townships and for the county, I really do. Now, how much does it cost the county to?
I bill back, I mean, we have obviously, usage space, but all the costs, we don't charge to rent the floor space or anything like that. We do charge back all the costs that are allowable, especially for early voting. The state picks up some costs, and then whatever is remaining is billed back to each and every township. Obviously, my time is not billable. If I have, or hers, if I have staff hours, those are billable back. And like on the Saturdays, the Sundays, the overtime.
And those we put into that election budget when that was brought forward to you guys in September.
So that's why you'll see in 24, the election budget is so high, but then there's also an offsetting reimbursement.
During early voting, we're here right away, because it's 9 to 5. So the staff is here typically 8 to 6.
Yeah, it goes about 8 to 6, depending on what the line is, but it was heavily utilized, much to my surprise. It was hopping. Let's see here. But we do bill back whatever we can, just like we do in any election. There are a couple changes we're going to make that I'm pretty insistent on this time if I'm to remain as the coordinator. all the township clerks did a phenomenal job, but one thing they were curious about is, since they're being titled site supervisors, and they do come over and we get one per township, I'm gonna look, we're gonna have a fee for them. Obviously, in their absence, I serve as a site supervisor. I don't take any money for that, but we are gonna look to increase and have for once a site supervisor fee, which will be billed back to all the townships to reimburse for that. And then we're gonna have some of our newer clerks serve alongside with the veteran clerks, because last time I couldn't get all the clerks here. And I want those newer clerks to learn this process, so come November, with the help of some of my staff, they can get here and act as a site supervisor, because if they all entered into 11 different agreements, if they couldn't agree how to do this, they would have to know how to run this early voting. And it is different than just starting up a normal precinct. Early voting, starting and ending, is much, much different than what goes on election day. So does that answer that? All the costs are billable. The state will reimburse us. We pay our election workers $20 an hour. We pay our chairperson $25. The state, though, will only reimburse $15 per hour. All of the townships are well aware of that. But in order for us to get the people, which still isn't a whole lot, these people love working elections, and that's how we can get them for this. And
You do the training as well?
I have to, by law. We're not a large enough county to go, so the county clerk has to do it and at least be present. I can ask some people to help, but we have to have specialized training for early voting. We'll have probably 10 sessions of general voting, then we have absentee and receiving board, and I'll do some special computer training for them. So, and we have to get this all done before that 9 days of early voting starts for both August and November. And the agreement will still hold that we only do this for state and federal elections. Local elections, we're not doing this. It's costly. It's costly and it's labor intensive.
In that early voting, does it go on Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, it starts on a Saturday and it runs through Saturday, Sunday, the whole next week, Saturday, Sunday, and then we're off on Monday, and then the polls start Tuesday, and they can bring us their AV ballots here and process them. When I say I'm meaning county. We have the equipment, the way we set it up. The townships, if they were to all go independently, are gonna have to buy new equipment, because the equipment is all with the county. So when I say that's what I'm talking about, is the clerk and the count, not me personally. Did that answer that question?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Do you recall approximately how many people really voted last?
Over 3,000.
November was more than August, but November there was a line out the door.
You know, it was kind of one of those things where the first day you host a party and you hope someone comes. And just a few people came. And then the one day they called me and I came over. I don't know why. I went home for a second. And they sent me pictures and they were lined up in the hall and out the door. And it was people, it was everyone from all over. There is no requirement that it has to be centrally located. Someone might say, well, I shouldn't have to drive so far. Well, you also can vote absentee and you can go to your polling place. But it continued. I mean, our highest days, I want to say, were probably 400 and some. And we faced a lot of, well, like many counties, we did what's called ballot on demand. They know I tend to be a little bit more old school, and probably I would have just lined all 30 some ballot styles up and said, you just go to the right cabinet. But what we did is we have a grid system that's set up. So we know like where, if Rick were to come in or Commissioner Robbins were to come in, we put the code and it automatically prints out the ballot style he needs. We ran out of paper. We had people driving from Cadillac and we were exchanging amongst county clerks that did this in this manner. Not all counties do this. So it was happen. And people did seem to like it. We are going to increase. We had 4 workers in 24 on the floor, plus a supervisor, plus I had Lynn in here almost nonstop. We're going to increase that to 6. We must always maintain 3, but if you only have 3 in here, no one can even go to the restroom. or take a break. It's not enough because we've got to watch for paraphernalia. We need to be watching the lines. We've got to make sure people are staying the distance. So, so those are just a couple of the changes, but the cost will be borne by the townships. We'll pay it, of course.
And everybody that has responded has agreed from going 4 to 6.
Yes.
Knowing that they'll have that additional cost, as well as the site supervisor, that they, as the township clerk, will be in the conference room, and they are the they're the stop before it comes to our office. So as Michelle said, they do need to know this is they're running this.
Right, and they didn't, none of them did seem to say, we don't want you to do it.
Yeah, they all
seem to say, yes, please keep it the same, so.
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion.
There is
I
a
move that the
motion.
Leelanau County Board of Commissioners support the agreement for election services between Leelanau County, Bingham, Centerville, Cleveland, Charter Township of Elmwood, Empire, Glen Arbor, Casson, Leelanau, Leland, Solon, Suttons Bay Townships, the county clerk is authorized to sign.
Support.
Move and support it, discussion? No, I only have one question. That was if all townships have signed on, but it sounds like.
They're going to, I've got to do the documents.
Based on what I've been hearing, everybody was going to.
Yeah, the emails came back real quick to me. Yeah.
But I was one of those that early voted, and you had an amazing system set up here, very speedy, and I was amazed with the line just because how fast everything was going in here, so well done.
You went well.
So,
Thank you for the service.
all right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0.
Before I leave, can I just give one more quick little update? I just wanted to follow up because I was listening to your commissioner comments, about the drain commissioner, that's one issue. The other issue of the 3 member panel that will handle this those are kind of separate. But one of my questions was, and I was able to get a hold of Matt, but he's going to put it in writing to me because I wasn't positive. When the judges appoint for the clerk and prosecutor, if there's a vacancy, those are not subject to OMA. That's a different, because they're judges, they just make those. But I did want to know, because I haven't done this it's been a long time. I'm the only one of the 3 of us that has done the appointment. I wanted to know if we were subject to OMA. He is going to confirm that in writing, but there is a case out of Genesee County that it will, I thought we handled this all in public when we did it before, but I just wanted to confirm that there weren't any case law that changed that, because doing it in the public venue just is usually a lot better for something like this. But he is going to confirm it, so that's kind of how I would proceed forward, that it will be a public OMA. And I see Jim's nodding, so but I did see, Matt told me it's out of Genesee County that he's gonna probably confirm that, but he wants to check with Tim Perone, because he's been doing a lot of these. So we'll keep you up to date, and of course, we'll follow whatever you guys as a board have trending, I'm sure, but I can't speak for the other 2 on the panel.
I just asked,
Yes.
and I don't know if this Jim or Michelle, you guys both studied up on that. Obviously, there's a gap. We don't have a drain commissioner today. What happens if a signature is needed? If
Well,
there's-
it's one of the things that Matt told me, because by law, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the drain commissioner, like other elected officials, is to have a deputy. And there is no deputy drain commissioner. And if there has been over the years, I don't recall. I mean, maybe in the 90s there might have been, but I haven't read one. I don't know who Steve's would have been. I know Tim didn't have one. One thing I do know, which did surprise me a little bit, I didn't remember this, is that there is no express deadline by which this panel must appoint a successor to the vacancy. It should be within a reasonable time. Other positions, whether you're appointing or others, they generally give you a 30-day window to get these appointments done. And I'm sure the judge and the prosecutor will probably look into this. However, I can tell you as a rule, when we meet as panels like this, we use Cole Stoker-Toskey as our legal. There's no additional cost. As long as there's not litigation, it will fall under the umbrella of the contract you have approved with them.
So during the gap, I mean, this could go, I would think it could go 3, 4
No.
weeks.
Oh, 3, 4 weeks? That sounds reasonable to me, but that's a good question.
I mean, I don't know, you may not know either, Tim. Okay.
First of all, the specific resignation letter indicated it was effective on March 20th.
Right.
So there's at least 10 days of that would be covered. And it's,
Okay.
there's no process that I'm aware of for accepting or acknowledging the resignation. It just happens once it's presented to the clerk, but Tim could very well be imposed by, because he says in an email that he would like to assist in the smooth transition. He might be convinced to continue his service until there's an appointment. And I would, talk to him about that, or, pursue that as a possibility. I think that would be a reasonable way of proceeding, unless you're, they're able to fill a position before the 20th.
Even, that brings up a point. In township government, usually when someone tries to resign, it won't be effective till it's accepted by the township board. In some cases, it's been extended because they won't do it 1 month. They don't want that person to go. They make it go. Now, that is not a question I did ask. Is it simply the filing with me? And I mean, because there's 3 people and I did send it on to the others.
I mean, you can.
I don't know, but if he's willing to, that could help cut the gap too.
I'll certainly speak to him about that, but I've generally taken the position that resignations aren't effective anyways until the position is filled. That's in many cases that is actually stated in the statute regarding the position. I haven't looked at that specific question, and that's something you may need to address to legal counsel, but I think you've raised an important question, and I will address it directly with Mr. Rona. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll, once we meet, I will let you know. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be public. So it'll just be a matter of scheduling the day, and I'm sure Mr. Onan, because I also spoke to him yesterday, may have some thoughts, suggestions. Thank you for letting me do that right now.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And I understand it's your month anniversary of the 45 years to the county. So I got something here to honor you with that. And thank you for your service to the county.
45 years.
Oh, that's very nice. Wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
All right, with that, we're on to senior services. And I think we got Lee here.
Good morning. We, as a senior service advisory committee with Commissioner Walter and Algier, we met on the 25th of February and discussed the renewal and restoration of the millage that was approved by voters in 2024 at a rate of 0.32. It was recommended by the committee that we restore and renew that millage rate for a period of 4 years. It is expected to generate approximately 1.3 million in revenue based on the 2025 county taxable value. In the first year, it is subject to Headley rollback. I just want to remind you that our millage does cover 96% of our budget. And given the current fund balance, we think the 4 years we can be self-sustained and continue to serve seniors without wait lists. So I am looking for approval for the committee's recommendation, the resolution presenting the ballot language, and to place it on the August 4th ballot.
Commissioner Alguer?
I would move to recommend that the County Board of Commissioners approve a senior service millage renewal and restoration to appear on the August 4, 2026 ballot and approve the attached resolution presenting the language to be placed on the August 4th, 2026 ballot as presented. This renewal proposes a levy of 0.32 mills for 4 years, covering the period from 2026 to 2029.
For supported discussion?
Thank you for your service to the seniors in this county. It's very important.
Yeah, knowing that the fund balance is, I think, around 700,000 at this time. I would think that, I hope the language will say up to 0.32, so that if we can make it a little less by 0.1 or something, and if we get that fund balance much higher than it is.
That's inherent.
It does say.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
I just hear, I had looked at it, and traditionally this has been 2 years. Did I just hear the rationale as to going 4 years rather than 2?
I presented a stress test, if you will, in regards to projections. And right now, we do not have any wait lists. So for any services, financial or in-home services, I do think that we will utilize our fund balance during the 4 year. Do I think we have enough for that 4 years? I do. In 4 years, we will probably likely be having a different discussion. I do anticipate to use that fund balance. So 2 years, 4 years, I'm good with either, but I think we have enough in the fund balance to support the 4 years.
And I think we did go further, go longer before, but you wanted to test this out. I remember you saying, I want to see if this is, because you didn't raise it last time.
We did not, just because I was so new. I had no idea what our numbers were, and I needed some time to get my feet wet and really understand our population and our needs. So I did 2 years previously. Like I said, stated, I think we can go the 4 years with our current fund balance. So, yeah.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0.
Thank you. The next one, I'm really excited to roll out our senior produce program. At the committee meeting, we also talked about the senior produce program. And on May 1st, it will begin and continue through October 31st. We have identified 88 seniors that are currently enrolled in our program that qualify for this senior produce program. Qualifications are at or below 185% of the federal poverty level. They will receive $25 worth of coupons, paper coupons to spend at farmers market, storefronts, and roadside stands. I did meet with the coordinator of farmers markets in the county, and she thinks that this is a wonderful program. She thinks it's going to be easily implemented, a lot easier than the current state program that has a lot of different barriers for the farmers and the seniors. So she's excited that, that we're able to do this. So I am asking that you approve the senior produce program. I think pages 27 through 41, you will see the entire documents that we will use. There are 2 agreements in the packet. The first agreement is going to be between Leelanau County and the individual farmers markets themselves to accept the coupons. And then they will hang a sign on their stand saying, we accept Leelanau County Senior Produce Program coupons here. And under that agreement, the farmers will collect the coupons and submit the coupons along with an invoice to us for reimbursement. The second agreement is between the farmers market coordinator and the vendors. That's to simplify the process for the market coordinator, in the fact that the market coordinator will be able to collect the coupons and submit for reimbursement through Leelanau County. So that one, they've both been looked over by legal counsel, and they approved both agreements. So I am seeking approval for the program in its entirety, and that includes the two agreements, and to authorize the county administrator to sign off on the individual agreements between Leelanau County and the vendors.
Shouldn't that be the board chair?
It was the committee recommendation that the county administrator sign off on that, because it could be up to 15 to 20 different agreements. So to have the board chair to come in, because they might be spread out throughout the season, I don't know when I will have them all in a pile, and I don't want it to affect reimbursement, quick reimbursement from the county.
Yeah, it just made logistical sense.
Yeah. Jogger.
I move to recommend that the County Board of Commissioners approve the senior produce program, which includes two agreements: the market vendor agreement and the market coordinator farmer agreement, and to authorize the county administrator to sign the agreement between Leelanau County and the individual market vendors.
Or discussion? Not? Oh, yeah, so, not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0.
Thank you. And can I just, I don't know if I'll be back before the board, but can I
Go for it.
speak on the senior expo?
Yep.
Is slated for June 16th. I will send out an email to invite everybody to that event. And if you would like to volunteer to hand out bags, pass out lunches, run any sort of tables, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you on the list.
Thank you. Plus the one, we'll take
Hey, Leon,
a 5 to 10 minute break, so.
did you say the 16th?
Yes, June 16th.
We had a 10-minute break.
What she kindly did say, I think, is these vouchers. Because you know, vouchers are nice. Right. An app on the phone, but a lot of the seniors.
Yes.
Pardon?
Just kind of interesting, though, even like the county sheriff's office update, just really interesting. That was way up here. Yeah, I don't know, I got some stuff to do with Donna's brother, I might take off right now. So I'm Tom, I don't think so. I don't think so, the playground,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because Kimber's answering that.
I remember one day we were walking.
Years ago.
You know, and thankful for people who show up in peaceful manner and cooperative and work together.
And you wonder, see, my mother. Her father was the
I came to this one. Sure, thanks for sending. I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be an emergency.
And I want to say, I'm sad. You do such a fabulous job. Oh, good. It's a change.
No, whether you like it or not. Find it change. That's your blood.
It's 61. It used to be yesterday. I was hoping my vote. I have a job, I have a wife. I made a good job. Go out there represent. Right. So that's why I voted for you. That's why I don't know whatever.
I'm glad they're gonna keep doing our local meeting here. I can't
I think it's good strategy, and I don't think that's. Especially my friends. It was like experts.
That's a good one. I know that
It's not that I.
That would be great. That's why.
Right, right, I think it's very safe, and I do, I just, when I get to do Yes.
I'm part of the jury.
So it's like there is.
Yeah, even if it's just don't do this. But hey.
Yeah, it's a good day, man. Yeah, yesterday, Noah. It's pretty coming.
There's all.
You can see the driveway gravel again.
Yes. How you doing? You guys doing in the back row?
Always in the back row.
You guys just.
Somebody go back benches.
Take you all about to exactly 40.
Yeah, I know, right? So I would go.
There you go.
I feel over the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer.
Yeah.
Before I came up there, I thought, you know,
I know, right, I can't answer. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, according to
Wayne County is semi.
No, I just, next time, can't you just do a special meeting? Do we have to wait?
Yeah, if you had where
they got allocated.
meeting numbers for rural public hearing.
And.
And you said you were- yeah, you would have
And then,
authorized
so,
it.
yeah, so the.
This we can sign it now.
We
just have to do it.
A lot of counties
We got
determine
this
if
here.
if they are
We have to
rural,
wait for the-
semi-rural, or can't get any money.
All right, right,
And
Would it be urban?
Oakland County.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I see what you're saying, that we don't need a.
All counties.
Right.
Wayne County was semi-rural. Leelanau County was semi-rural. And Grand Traverse County was semi. We were the only two counties north of the Mason. That was semi-rural.
Like vulture.
Yeah.
During-
I think that was a political map rather than a.
Yeah, Detroit, that's especially. Of course, they, I guess they consider. Red County.
Yeah, And you have to do
You're saying, well, they're getting right now.
Is that right?
I mean, I'll travel, but.
Kelly, did you have?
Anyways, good to see you guys. I'm glad you're all here.
Yeah, we're trying to keep track of what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone.
But I just. I'm in my eighties.
I'd say that.
Is the involvement of all the
Yeah, I just saw a special meeting.
Like, really, in the seventies, this was the county for families. And now
I don't know.
Because that's what we told you. Then we stopped. Just like we did.
I think that's where. Because of. We just, it's just, like next week, but you're right, I didn't. Cross town. We have like a population, we're actually, I don't know, partners, not just.
Yeah, right.
It's not a question about having.
We're doing the same thing. I've never. But it still works, so that's all that matters. Okay. It's just, I just thought it was just great. I don't know. I guess what it is, I don't work on
No, I got it, you're right. I've always
You are correct. You are correct.
There were some jobs.
Yeah.
Well, I got stuff back on. Yes. Oh, and especially since they don't have a college.
Right.
Got the Great River and a lot of like nice land, so they're really cool.
And Tom is on.
Oh, and Tom is, right. I forgot the mascot, sorry.
Yeah, we can.
That's not nice.
Ready? All right. We'll get back in session here. We got first item, we have Parks and Rec, public hearing, and Lauren's here to address that.
Yes, so in your EDS, you'll see that we would like to schedule the public hearing to receive public comment on the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund Recreation Grant for the replacement of the playground at Miles Kimmerly County Park. We've typically done these hearings 30 minutes in advance of a regular session. With the tight timing, I unfortunately wasn't able to get it on the February agenda for scheduling and approval. But I'm hoping that we will be able to schedule it for next Tuesday, March 17th at 6 p.m.
I move that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners waive the board rule 4.2 and approve the scheduled public hearing on Tuesday, March 17th, 6 p.m. in the board PLC meeting room in order to receive public comment on the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant for the replacement of the playground equipment at Miles Kimberly Park.
Support. Supported, discussion? Commissioner Money?
Yeah, I just think this is an unusual way, and I don't really like waiving board rules. I mean, I wish we'd just done a special session and had 3 commissioners sign it. But I mean, this still works, but it just, normally we just do the 3 signatures.
I agree. It's not my preference to ask you to waive your board rules.
Just another question I have as to, I guess, and maybe this is legally, we have to do it this way, but why can't a public hearing be part of a regular meeting, I guess? That's another, I mean, is that, I don't know, is that just, we can't do that, or?
I think it's our preference that it be done that way, but I think it's the clerk's preference, so that's why we've respected that so far. But you can certainly hold a public hearing as part of it's really not that, frankly, not any different than a separately scheduled public comment. You do that without a problem, if that was your choice.
I think we have to notice it different though.
It has to have, yes, the meeting has to indicate that it's public hearing, right, the notice has to include that for sure.
My point is, let's say if it be part of the regular meeting and you just put the notice out, our meeting starts at 6:30, a regular board meeting, you put the notice in for 7 o'clock, and whatever we were at the meeting, we halt it and moved our
You can
public
do
hearing,
that.
right?
I think it has to be a separate event.
Right,
I think we have done that.
We've done that with our budget.
Yep.
I know that for sure.
Yeah, and with respect to Commissioner Bennick's comment, I agree with one caveat. We're really doing two things. When you schedule a special meeting, all you're doing is scheduling the meeting itself. You're not you have to have a purpose for it, but you're not scheduling, you're not actually taking an action voted by the entire board to schedule a public hearing. That's the reason I prefer to do it this way, because when you schedule a special session, all it takes is 3 of you signing a paper. That's not a majority vote of the board to say, set a public hearing. And you could have somebody challenge that and say, you didn't appropriately set the public hearing in a meeting with a majority vote of the board. That's the rule we're asking you to waive, is the rule that says you can't take final action during an executive board meeting. The only final action you're taking is to schedule. The purpose is to actually, by majority vote, set a public hearing. It's a formality that we would like to have you consider in February. We just did not do it. Not Lauren's fault. I'll take it blame for that.
But is there any reason we can't have it at 7? Because if this goes at 6, we have a lot of public comment, like our regular meeting could be pushed back. So I don't know. That's just, maybe I'm just nitpicking things. I don't know, but I don't understand why we're having 2 separate meetings just for.
The last time you did this, you opened the public hearing, there was no comment, closed the meeting at 6:02, and you waited until 6:30 to start the meeting.
Right.
So either way, it's gonna go either way.
Yeah, you're flipping a coin.
I don't know, am I the only one that wants it at 7 or, or 6 o'clock?
I go 6:45 or 6:15 if you want to do that.
I'd more rather have it after our regular meeting, just because one or the other might get pushed back, so, but if I'm the
I
only
go
one that feels that
6:15.
way,
I
so.
can't imagine more than 10 minutes.
It's 6, I'd rather have 6 or 6:15, it makes
We
no
start our
point.
regular at 6:30, so that's why it's before
that's
before your meeting. Yep.
Yeah, so,
Leave it as is,
yeah.
alright, the only one, I guess, but for future reference, I'd like it as part of the regular meeting, just for simplify things, don't
We
need to
can,
complicate it, so.
and the clerk's office to get some clarification as to why it's typically like this. I was talking with Commissioner Bunnick in between, and typically within a short reference, yes, as Lauren's correct, you would have set this hearing by board motion in February for March. The timing didn't happen, so typically what we would do is have our executive today. A special session would have been held to make a motion by all 7 of you after this meeting, so that you then have that public hearing for next Tuesday. So instead, we're waiving rules and incorporating it, but we can clarify why they're not incorporated in the executive session or in the regular session.
No, I understand the reason for waiving the rules, the part I don't understand is
Yeah,
why
we
it
can
just
give
can't
you-
be as part of a regular meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. We can give you some history on that.
So, thank you. All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0.
Okay, the next item, 5B, I'm simply asking to move that forward. So following the public hearing, you will be asked to consider a resolution of support for the MNRTF recreation grant.
You move to recommend County Board of Commissioners move the resolution for support for the MMRTF grant for accessible playground mounts in the park forward to March 17, 2026 regular session.
Support.
Supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you. Okay, now the fun one. The Parks and Rec Commission has been discussing really thoroughly over the last several months, maybe even longer, about installing memorial benches at the parks. And the Veronica Valley Parks Committee did a lot of legwork, kind of building a program. We've had interest from several citizens, lots of questions about, can we purchase a bench? So we sort of modeled it
a mix between a couple of other counties, the TART Trail Bench Program, and then kind of formulating it around what we do at the Veterans Memorial for memorial engravings and bricks, memorial bricks. So what you have in front of you is a request for the Parks and Recreation Commission to purchase 9 benches. We identified Bay Supply. We had several estimates come in. We work with Bay Supply. They do our flags and our maps here at the campus. So we would like to purchase 9 benches out of the Parks and Rec capital outlay budget, and install them and sell them and accept the donation. So if you read your motion, it is kind of a tri-fold motion to approve the purchase with where the funds are coming from, to install the 9 benches at Veronica Valley, establish and approve a uniform donation amount for each bench, which will cover the cost, the installation, the engraving of the in memoriam, and approve the reimbursement back to capital outlay for Parks and Recreation following the sale of the 9 benches.
Move to recommend the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of 9 benches from Bay Supply in an amount not to exceed $12,150, with funds to come from 850756-970.000, and approve the installation of 9 benches at the Veronica Valley County Park, establish and approve a uniform $1,500 donation for each bench, and approve reimbursement of the $12,150 to 850756-970.000, with the balance of proceeds allocated perpetual care account to be established by the finance department.
Support.
2 seconds. Discussion.
Can I just, I'm not sure how this fits into our bid policy. In that we'll be selling these probably 2 or possibly 3 at a time, so each purchase would be under the $5,000, and it may drag, or they may sell them all. We have no clue. But I would feel comfortable if you adding to set aside our bid policy in case people interpret this as $12,000 spent right away. Maybe that's a needed, not needed. And we did get prices from several vendors, but we did not go through an official bid.
So we don't have the donations already?
We have because we are not able to accept them without the approval from the Board of Commissioners. So we have several people ready to do a donation for a memorial bench, but we need to have your consent and permission to set up the account numbers and treat it similarly to how we treat the Veterans Memorial, where we're able to accept the donations. And if you'd prefer, we come back to you for each 9 to accept each individual donation on their own. We can certainly do that. But what we're hoping for is to say this umbrella of 9 and see how it goes and consider it kind of a pilot program at Veronica Valley, with the hopes that we can also replicate this at Miles Kimberly and Old Settlers. Did that answer your question?
I'm not sure, because this says that you're gonna buy 9
Mhm.
benches. Are you gonna order those and get them installed?
Yes.
It is the most cost-effective path for us to do it that way, because there's a concrete pad. There's, yeah.
I'm just saying, but that's what you're planning on doing.
That is correct.
And you have some, how many, 2, 3, 10, people that have said they wanted to donate for it?
I have one on my desk ready to go. Alan has one.
We're like volunteers. Everyone's volunteered at this point.
That's what I mean. So we're getting and we're just, the Park and Rec is picked these out, you know, as a bench that's appropriate for the.
Oh, do you want to see it? It's right here. It's in the lobby. If you want to see it. Yeah.
So, because, I mean, we've had this before where people wanted to donate a bench that they wanted to do it in the Mason and we're not gonna do anything.
It's
like
gonna
that.
be
We'll all the
uniform.
same.
And so that was a discussion that was really thoughtfully done, committee by committee, is that the bench will be uniform and selected based on the theme of the park. So the bench at Old Settlers is probably going to be a different style than the bench at Veronica Valley, just because of the different use of the park and what is already existing at Old Settlers. So they've been very thoughtful and intentional about the selecting of the materials to be installed.
And do we need to have a perpetual care account? Or do we need to set up, can it just be part of the Park and Rec? I think they're gonna take care of it.
Well, we could put it into maintenance and repairs. That could be, it's an already established line item. And that's up to you if that would be your preference. I was modeling it on what we did for the Veterans Memorial, but that's certainly an option.
I mean, it just creates more accounting and I don't think we need to do that because you're talking, you know, $3,000 or something. And when that runs out, how are we gonna?
It's
resupply it?
1,350.
So I would say if it goes back, I mean, I don't know, I would say if it goes back into the Park and Rec account, they're gonna take care of it anyway, so not have a special account for, you know, repairs, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So if it runs out, then we need it.
I agree with you, Colin, and Lois, Lois, did you want to come up here? She's on the Park and Rec committee. Okay. That came from the modeling of, that was a pickup and probably we didn't think through that. I didn't think
Can
through
we
that.
delete it from the motion?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you need to?
Yeah, just take that sentence out of the motion.
So amending it to have it go to the maintenance line item
Right.
currently existing in the Parks and Rec budget.
Right.
Do we need to skip or also say that we're going to set aside our bid policy?
I don't think we need it.
Okay. I mean,
You're probably right, because you're talking $12,000.
Yeah.
If I can ask a question, Administrator Dyer, are there any other questions that we need to ask as far as putting this money into maintenance and repair budget?
No, I think that just an amendment that specifies that rather than perpetual care. We thought initially it was the right thing to do that because we're actually charging slightly more than what the benches are costing. So that money needs to go somewhere, go into maintenance and repair rather than some perpetual care.
That's right, because we're gonna.
Whatever your pleasure is on that.
Yeah, simplify.
It's one of the reasons you have these things, you have the executive board meetings, so you can scope that out.
I'm sorry, what? Sort of, not really.
Okay, so we're gonna read.
You're striking through the perpetual care portion,
Right, and we're gonna add that,
waiving the bid.
yes, we're gonna waive the bid, and we're gonna strike the perpetual care. And that money will go into the maintenance budget.
Okay, is it okay if right now the county already has a revenue for parks donations?
Right.
Would you like it to stay parks donations? Is where the money gets receipted into?
Well, that would be a question. Do we need to separate it out by park? Because we're doing this just for Veronica Valley.
The general fund is all inclusive.
Mhm.
Not that much money that we're talking about. Say just throw it right in the repair budget.
So typically you would have your revenue would state the money that's donated coming back in, and then you would increase upon those donations, your maintenance line item. So that'd be your offset. And it's what we do with the dog as well. You have a revenue and a corresponding expense. Is that
That's
okay?
good enough for the dog.
Okay. I'll dream something up.
Yeah, that motion,
I got it.
understood?
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. carried 6-0.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Your meeting.
Oh, no, you're fine. Or you need the 2% allocation?
I am.
Okay, go for it. It's your next item.
Okay. Okay, so we had a few interested departments and external agencies, entities express interest in applying for the first cycle, the spring cycle for the 2% allocations from the Grand Traverse Band. They are enclosed in your packet. And we are seeking your permission for these departments and entities to complete their application and submit that via Leelanau County as fiduciary to the Grand Traverse Band.
I would move to recommend the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners approve the intent to apply and prepare applications for the spring 2026 2% allocations to the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians for the replacement of audiovisual equipment in the BOCMR. That means this room. Inland Seas Education Association Education Center, 5 loaves, 2 fish, to supplement protein for weekly meal deliveries. And the construction of a pavilion at BBP and the replacement and install of an ADA ramp, stairs, and ADA dock at Old Settlers Park. And BBP would be Veronica Valley?
Yes.
Is there support? Okay. Supported discussion, Commissioner Money?
I'd ask that these individuals, please.
No. Any other discussion? All right, not, the first vote will be on replacement of the audio visual equipment for the Board of Commissioners meeting room. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0. Next will be for Inland Seas Education Association Education Center. All in favor? Oh, I got some discussion. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have, I mean, in their application, they talked about they've received over $5 million already in donations. So I don't believe that, that we should be using the casino's property tax for inland seas when we have several different things here for the county on this list. I just think that they show the propensity to be able to raise millions of dollars. And I don't believe that the casino's property tax should be spent on this, especially since they're a 501c3.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Nay. Motion carried 3-2.
I would like to point out that I don't agree it's property to.
Or 2.
That's okay.
My math is way off today.
It's okay. Spring forward, you know? And that was Walter and Bunny, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't it? Okay, thank you.
And I would like to point out that I don't agree that it's property tax.
All right, our next vote will be on 5 loaves, 2 fish to supplement protein for weekly meal deliveries. Discussion?
Again, this, you know, I'm not sure who asked to put this on here, but this is a charity that that goes specifically to one place, not for the whole county. So it's really not moving the county forward as far as what we have to do. It's basically giving a donation to a charity. And as far as I know, that's not really legal. But somehow we seem to get by with it by writing a contract and saying that it's okay. So again, I think that we should not be donating money, especially the casino's property tax, to this type of even though they're good. I'm not saying this is a bad charity, but property tax shouldn't go since the casino, this is the only kind of tax that they pay. I think that it should be used for fire departments or for the police department or for the schools, but not for charities, which raise their own money through charitable donations, and we shouldn't be donating, county money.
Any discussion?
I guess the question I have is I'd like to have you describe what's illegal. I hear this all the time, and you always say it's illegal. I mean, should we put 7 more inmates over in jail as commissioners for breaking the law?
Well, no, if somebody took us to court for it, we could end up being sued, because we're, basically, they're saying, because we write a contract, they're making it legal. I don't believe that giving to charities is a state law, but it's illegal to donate to charities.
All right, any other discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried 4-2. Next vote will be on the construction of the pavilion at Veronica Valley Park. Discussion on that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is what the casino property tax should go, because it helps all the people in the county who want to use that park, and as opposed to particular people picked out, So I see this as good, and how we should be asking for the casino's property tax.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 6-0. And the next one is the replacement and install of an ADA ramp, stairs, and ADA dock at Old Settlers Park. Discussion on that.
It's not like I don't support this project, but I think it's only fair to point out that while this is brought forth by the Parks Commission has not taken this up and did not vote on it as a recommendation. I think parts of it exist in our capital improvement program, which I think is one of our criteria. But not in this amount of money and not in this form. So I bring that up to say that it did not go through the Parks Commission. Part of that's my fault because, I brought up the issue on the pavilion, and it was like a light came on and boom, it was a last second addition to our agenda on the Parks Commission. And it didn't give everyone a chance to vet out and provide other suggestions for these 2%. And I'll move on from that and add to what to my colleague, Commissioner Will Bonnick, in that I think that, these no's and yes votes, I understand why they're there in principle. But I think the county has not looked at these 2% the way that the tribe looks at them. They do look at them as gifts to the community. Now, like it or not, that is their view. If we provide applications that fits their view, such as the pavilion, such as those types of, if you will, lighter, not governmental, not like pro-government programs and things like that, not like buying a computer program. But if we stick with their sweet spot, I think we can bring a lot more money into Leelanau County. So that's my thoughts.
I would just like to repeat that the first action of the county commissioner when it was established in the 1860s was to provide $5,000 for the widows and children and injured veterans in the Civil War. Our first act was charitable and to take care of our people. So I thank the tribe for being willing to do the same, and I hope that we maintain that mindset.
Yeah, discussion, Mr. Bonnie?
Yeah, I guess, and I'll go back to the 5 loaves and 2 fish. If I could give my property tax to my family, sure, I would do it. And if we give, this is specifically for the people in Peshawee Town. So you know, they're gonna wanna give their 2%, their property tax to their own people. It makes sense, but I just think that giving these to these charities is just not what, the government should be doing.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Carried 5-1. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Next up, we have B under administration, which is play HR, which the administrator is referring to, and I'll let him address that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are proposing to, back, I believe it was in August, you approved the acquisition of the Harris Time Clock Plus software that was going to permit us to electronically maintain our payroll, and it integrated with the software that we currently have, the Harris Open Windows, and that was to the cost of, let me get the right page, just under $16,000. Because of what I mentioned earlier, the fact that we're not going to be implementing the account conversion at this time, and the main reason we were going to use the Harris Time Clock software is because we will be implementing the account conversion. And because what we're asking you to do is essentially rescind your decision back in August to permit that purchase and substitute it for the purchase of the Clay HR software. The main reason that we're recommending that, really 3 reasons. The implementation time is about half, 8 weeks for Harris versus 4 weeks for Clay HR. The cost is substantially less, just under $10,000 versus $18,000. And most importantly, the Clay HR program has a full-featured human resources database program that accompanies the payroll program. We've reviewed it with the HR manager, Jen Kane, and I have reviewed it together. It's the one that she recommends and wishes to use, to maintain her office. And again, primarily because it's less expensive and provides more functionality, we're asking you to rescind your earlier decision regarding Harris Time Clock and implement a Clay HR.
Mr. Walter?
I move to recommend the County Board of Commissioners allow the administration to implement the Clay HR software in lieu of the Time Clock Plus software for employee time management.
Support.
Supported, discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0. So we got the interceptor replacement. Administrator, speak to that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, you heard from the sheriff and the other sheriff regarding, I misspoke. I'm looking at the appraisal report. The vehicle in question had 118,329 miles, not 134,000 as I previously reported. But what we're proposing to do is use the buyout from the insurance company to pay for a portion of the lease of a new vehicle. This is a kind of an indication of what I discussed when we decided to start using enterprise fleet management for the acquisition of vehicles. If we were to have replaced this vehicle, we would have been forced to be in a position to spend upwards of $60,000 to obtain and outfit such a vehicle. In this instance, we'll be able to obtain that vehicle for substantially less, about the rental cost for that vehicle is just around $1,100 per month. fully outfitted, and that $9,000 paid just under 3/4 of a full year's worth for a vehicle that we probably were only gonna be able to get less than a year's worth of use out. So we're asking that you allow us to supplement our acquisition of the 4 police vehicles by adding this additional one as a supplement to the lease. And by the way, we are expecting, I think, this week to take a delivery of the Tacoma pickup truck that you authorized, and the 4 interceptors are currently fitted. So that process is working for us quite well.
I would move to recommend that that Leelanau County utilize the funds from the buyout of the total 2019 Ford Police Interceptor to lease a new Ford Police Interceptor from Enterprise Fleet Management.
Or a discussion?
Is this gonna be one of the what we, 4 that we authorized before?
No, this is going to be an additional, this will be the 5th vehicle to replace the one that's totaled.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried 5-1. All right, next up, we got the HR resolution, which on your agenda states to move forward.
Yeah, we've just asked that we have a motion to move forward for full consideration at the next meeting. I did have an opportunity to meet with both the county clerk, Michelle Crocker, as well as Matt Northford. And we had, where we're at right now in that process, we had some discussion regarding the content and how some modifications would be necessary. And the clerk was going to prepare a red line showing the changes she thought was necessary. Once I receive that, I'll make some changes that I think are necessary and submit those for review by Matt Northford. I'm hoping that we can have that accomplished so you have a final version to look at, approved by the council.
I move to recommend that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners move this item forward to the full board meeting scheduled for March 17, 2026.
Second.
Board discussion?
Okay, can I ask, will these talks, discussions, negotiations, will they be completed so that the result of that can be included with the packet that goes out to the public?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
I mean, I don't want to come here and then have this and then have the public not have access to it prior to our meeting. I want some time to digest it. That's pretty.
This will be a part of our packet, I guess, when our packet or.
Our packet
goes
that the
out-
public
goes
is
out
reviewed.
Friday, January.
Right.
I would hope to be able to do that. If we can't, then I don't know what to tell you. A lot of it has to do with when I get something back from the clerk's office. So
anyways,
that's
if
certainly
we
what
can
we're aiming at. If we can't do that, I guess
I would like to move it to April. If it's a matter of we get it here. And then we're supposed to digest it at the same, all in one piece.
Well, often things come on Monday. That would be.
Well, it doesn't go out to the public then.
The public's not voting on it, you are.
Well, the public needs to
The
know what
public
we do.
voted for you to make that decision.
The public is important.
Well,
So,
Bill, I'm sure we'll get feedback.
Well, if it's important, then how come earlier today, we as a board until this morning, the public didn't get this morning, 3 items that the clerk presented.
Oh, I agree. I don't like that either.
So I mean.
I agree fully, but today seems like we've got a stack of them. And So anyways, I have that concern. I'd like to see it. So and I understand
That's what
you're gonna attempt to do that, but I.
to accomplish that, sure.
And the other question, it seems like the thing that keeps coming up is these records before whatever the year is, 2021. And I just don't want to get into a position that's like the Beta lawsuit, where, okay, Grand Traverse County sues Beta, and so we're paying Beta share, and then Leelanau County gets dragged into it, and we're paying the other share. To me, unless someone can tell me why it's essential that these records get transferred over, it's not worth an internal fight to do it, as long as those folks who are doing work for the county, HR department, our county administrator, have access to it. To me, it's just not worth the fight. I mean, maybe it's worth the fight to everybody else. It's not worth the fight to me. I just don't think that the public is benefited from that. I don't see how that helps us do business. If it turns into a fight, maybe it won't.
So I have some concerns about putting this off even more. So I do hope that we settle this Tuesday.
I hope so too.
4 years.
Yeah, I'd like to see it settled. Those are my two concerns, is I just don't think it's worth an internal fight in this building over whether the records are in this office or this office. And especially if it comes down to anything more than we both agree to do this.
I guess to that point, like I'm gonna have to disagree with you to an extent. I don't know why there would be a fight to transfer things over. We have a department that deals with that, like let them do their job. So that's kind of me, where it's like we have an HR department that is specifically set up to take care of that. And so they should be able to have everything they need at their desk to complete that work. And so I don't understand. If it is a fight, I don't know why it would be, I guess, because it should be. So
If the clerk says I'm not gonna transfer them over, what's gonna happen next?
Well, that in this resolution, we're asking that happens. So
Well, if she's a separate elected office, what happens if she does?
that's not for me to answer. So I guess that'll be at the attorney's head. We'll have to figure out how to handle that, but I can't ask any department to turn anything over that has to do with their own employees. So I'm not asking that. What I'm asking is the HR to have everything they need to conduct what they need to do. And so I don't think that's fair, and it allows every department to run smoothly. So that's my request. But and the other thing, as far as this resolution, hopefully we'll have, because we had something and we had some discussion as to, there was a lot of, I don't know, would I dare say errors, but a lot of, I guess, red lines that the clerk had mentioned. So hopefully our attorney will have something. It was agreed to have it in March, so I don't see why that would not be possible, I guess. Unless our administrator says otherwise, I guess, so.
It's my intent that we get it finished by the end of this week, whether that happens or not, will be in the hands of others.
So I think our stating we are going to deal with it on Tuesday is important.
True.
That could be an incentive to have it dealt with this week.
Made that promise to the public a month ago on a dentist to stick to that, so. Mr. Money?
Yeah, the resolution from, October of 2021 actually did all of this already, so I don't know why we're going through this. And that resolution proves that we don't have any means of enforcing it. So again, we're gonna put in a resolution, but there's no means of enforcing it. We're just stirring up the pot that we don't need to. I just don't understand why we're going through this. And we're gonna have so many different iterations of this resolution that we have right now. Because we're just repeating what they did in October 5 years ago.
All right, well, at the end of the day, it's just moving it forward to next Tuesday, so. All in favor of that, say aye. All opposed, say nay.
Only because if he can get me the I just haven't heard a promise that we could get the information in a timely fashion. I understand some of that's how our administrators saying.
Motion carried 4-2. All right, next up, we have Finance Department Resolution. If everybody had a copy of that, and I think I had everybody, should have a copy of this as well.
What I don't have is the formal motion.
There is an EDS that,
Isn't this it?
yes,
Yep.
Recommend?
what I
Pretty much
did
identical
is,
if you want to do that over
Oh, wait a minute, this is the one we just did.
That's right, I don't have
I don't
any,
think I know.
here. I have
should be
it.
at your desk.
I had Lauren make a copy for everybody here.
Should be at your-
Just that we have so many extra.
Yeah.
papers.
I got it. It's these two right here.
Want me to read it?
Sure.
I move to recommend that the Leelanau County Board of Commissioners move this item for consideration at the March 17, 2026 full board meeting with amendments as discussed.
Sorry, this item.
This is the Finance Department.
Draft resolution, and I sent it to you all.
oh, there it is.
So I do have it, I just didn't write it.
When I sent it to you all for review on Saturday, I asked for you to provide me any comments. I did receive one comment from Commissioner Campbell that indicated on page 2, there's a provision that relates to the transfer of grant administration. And his comment, which I think is appropriate, is that we add, subject to the requirement that all grants be approved by the county board prior to acceptance. And I have no problem with adding that to the item. It's the second page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 down, or sixth down on the page, talking about grant administration.
Any other support discussions?
Did that get on here? I don't think it, or is it?
No, it's not, it's just, I would just add it, my whole hope was that you, again, you'll notice this is not in final form as a resolution, which normally is on, county letterhead. This is just a draft for you to comment on, and with that addition, present that final version in the packet, at your next meeting, your full board meeting.
That's what that motion was just to
Correct,
move that,
yeah,
not
just
in particular. this
correct.
one. Yeah.
Any other discussion, questions? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried 5-1. All right, and the next, we have Board of Commissioners, letter of federal representative in support of a grant for sidewalks in Shawnee Town, brought to us by Commissioner Wessel. He's just requesting that this be moved forward to our regular meeting. I believe he will be in attendance for that, so I guess we could just have a motion to that effect.
I move that we move this item for consideration at the March 17, 2026 full board meeting.
Second.
Moved and supported, discussion. Campbell?
Yeah, I'm fine with moving this forward. There may be an addition to it, and I don't know how folks here feel about that, but the tribe really wants to slow the traffic down on the main road. And I've been in contact with a tribal council member who suggested that maybe we could add that to this. I don't think, I mean, to me, that's just common sense, I mean, having it go 55 miles an hour and then put in sidewalks doesn't make a lot of sense. So
The only thing that I would say is that there'd be your audience, you'd have two separate audiences.
should we do it in 2 resolutions, you think?
Perhaps, yes, perhaps, yes.
Maybe I'll make a motion following this to move forward for consideration, a resolution requesting that the state highway department lower them. So anyways, let's vote on this one first.
That's a motion after this motion. Commissioner Money?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see this as the us paying for the casinos sidewalk, which I don't understand why we would be paying for the casino sidewalk. We're taxpayers, they're asking for taxpayers' money to do a sidewalk for the casinos. And I just think that's what's driving the people who are walking there. And that's what they can buy their own sidewalk, I believe. And so I just think that we shouldn't be supporting this because we're gonna be paying, we want to pay for casinos sidewalk. That's the way I'm dealing with it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it just appears that way to me.
I look forward to Commissioner Wessel's explanation.
Commissioner Walter? You got your hand up.
This is a grant.
It's a letter to support a grant.
Right.
From the federal government.
From the federal government. So, you know, my theory is the federal government's gonna spend that money anyway. Because that's what the federal government is. And if we can get them to spend it in Leelanau County, we're money ahead.
Even if they borrow from China.
And that's another issue.
Right. That is.
Any other discussion on that? Not all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Carried 5-1. All right, next up, we got review of financials. Oh,
How do you,
sorry.
oh,
yeah, I
proper
apologize.
in doing that? I mean, I don't know if they have to amend the agenda. I was thinking just add it on to the other one and then we wouldn't have had to amend the agenda. And actually, I just got the text this morning from Brian, so.
We're still doing an amendment, just one way or the other. You could add something to the agenda right now.
You just, in essence, I guess, what was brought up earlier, waive board rules and add that to the agenda for next month, next week.
I move that we waive board rules and consider and recommend consideration at our full board meeting, a resolution in support of the Grand Traverse Band's efforts to lower the speed limit on the state highway in Peshawty Town.
Support.
Support discussion?
That won't cost anything.
No.
Well, yeah, well, the got the signs out.
They're gonna do a study.
I think I do a study.
Right, and I think that it's a good idea. They've done it, on the county roads, and it's just that it's a state highway, why they can't do it. But again, it's the casinos that's causing this. It's not, that's anything else as far as the village, but I would support this one. What I don't like is that we don't have a resolution in front of us. We're just.
I'm with you.
And so we're trying to pass something that we don't really know what it is.
Well, we're not passing anything, we're moving it forward to the next week. We could have a resolution.
Then we get it.
I would interpret your motion to direct me to prepare a resolution.
Well, that'd be
for
fine.
consideration.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll have it in the packet, which was a priority in the last issue.
All right, any other discussion on that?
One more thing, maybe if it does go through, we could do a 2% from their property tax to pay for the signs.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor of that motion, say aye. All say nay. Carried 6-0. All right, now we're on to review of financials, which you should have received that in your email from Clara.
Yeah.
Any questions on our financials? Not, we'll move on to special reports by staff, commissioners, and affiliated agencies. Any special reports? All right, moving right along, public comment, 5 minutes. Anybody wish to give public comment? Mr. McCallum?
Morning, everyone. My name is Tim McCauley. I'm a resident of Elmwood Township. Thank you for taking the time to listen to these comments. I have several questions and concerns I believe this board either has the answers to or has the ability to obtain if it so chooses. Response to public comments I've seen from some members of this board has been troubling. After previous public comments made regarding decisions of this board, communications from 3 commissioners were delivered to the members of the Leelanau County GOP. One message came to the party chairman directly and suggested that his remarks regarding Sean Cohen's hiring were highly inappropriate and uncalled for, and asking such questions was indefensible rhetoric. I find that response surprisingly and alarming because the comments made were based on public available information and statements which had already been made public. When this board considers hiring someone for an important position as county government, examining that person's professional background and past performance is not a personal attack. It is basic due diligence. If a private business were hiring someone for a major management position, reviewing that person's past record would be expected. The same principle should apply when decisions are being made about leadership positions in county government. Another communication suggested that questions being raised about recent events in county government were becoming distractions and that make it harder for the board and county employees to do their jobs. I strongly disagree with that characterization. Citizens asking questions about government decisions is not distraction, it is oversight. Over the past year, there have been numerous developments in county governance that naturally raise questions from the public. These include the firing of former finance director, instability with finance department, hiring freeze that left the department understaffed, grievances filed with the government center, and questions about authority and actions of the county administrator. When events like these occur, it is entirely reasonable for citizens to ask questions about how decisions were made, whether those decisions serve the best interests of the taxpayers of this county. One commissioner suggested that controversies surrounding the finance department could reflect poorly on the Republican Party locally. I would suggest something different. Public concern is not created by citizens asking questions. Public concern is created by circumstances which led to those questions to be asked in the first place. The department that was previously functioning well suddenly experiences leadership turnover, staffing shortages, and controversy. It is natural for citizens to seek explanations. Asking those questions is not an attempt to undermine government. It is an attempt to ensure accountability. Another suggestion made was instead of raising concerns, citizens should focus on offering constructive suggestions. In fact, many citizens have done exactly that. During public comments, citizens has urged this board to control spending, strengthen oversight of administrative decisions, and focus on responsible management of taxpayers' dollars. The question many citizens have now is simple. Is this board truly listening to those concerns? Public comments exist for a reason. It is one of the primary reasons is one of the primary ways citizens participation in the government and hold their elected officials accountable. So I will close with this principle. Citizens come to this desk should not be criticized or dismissed for asking questions about government decisions. Questioning government is not disruptive, is not inappropriate, is not a distraction. It is a fundamental part of how representative government is supposed to work. So for the public record, I would simply ask this board, do you welcome that oversight from the citizens in this county, or do you consider it a problem? Thank you for your time.
Wait.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jim White from Suttons Bay, and I'm also speaking on behalf of the Leelanau County Republican Party as the party chairman. I want to again raise several questions regarding the Suttons Bay School District property transaction. I have previously been told this board had nothing to do with that land sale, and my question should not be directed here. However, after reviewing the minutes from the May 2025 County Land Bank meeting, I discovered that the motion to approve the purchase agreement for the Suttons Bay property was made by County Administrator Jim Dyer and seconded by Commissioner Alguier. This raises basic governance questions. If the county administrator and a city commissioner initiated the motion to sell the property, how can this board claim the matter is outside of its responsibility to explain? At the time of the motion, Mr. Dyer was serving on the Board of Peninsula Housing, the organization that ultimately purchased the property. So the public record currently shows the county administrator, with a second by Commissioner Alguier, both made the motion to approve the sale and participated in the vote to approve the transaction involving an organization on whose board the administrator served. The record also shows that despite the fact that the land sale was on the agenda for approval, John Gallagher had already signed the purchase agreement with Peninsula Housing. Is that proper procedure? This is not an accusation, but it is a governance question that deserves a clear explanation. The property was sold to Peninsula Housing for approximately $800,000 and reportedly funded by unidentified private investors without a competitive bidding process. Several individuals indicated that the goal was to develop affordable housing on that property. I have been personally told that by Larry Mobby and John Gallagher. However, after reviewing the warranty day and related documents, I have not found a legally binding requirement that affordable housing must be built on the property. If that understanding of mine is incorrect, the public would benefit from seeing where that requirement is documented. So the questions here are straightforward. Is there a legally binding commitment requiring affordable housing to be built on the Suttons Bay property? If so, where can the public review that requirement? And if such a requirement does not exist, how does the County Land Bank, Jim Dyer and Commissioner Alguier justify transferring public land without safeguards ensuring the stated public purpose will occur? Citizens asking questions about hiring decisions, land transactions, and potential conflicts of interest are not trying to disrupt government. They are exercising responsible public oversight. Transparency strengthens public trust. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Mr. Weezer?
Bill Wiesner, Elmwood Township. And again, the only way to be assured of fair voting is one person, one ballot, one vote, one day, to have no fraud. And this handout is a podcast, which I strongly recommend. I'll turn this in, the clerk has one here, but they don't come out as well when they're just copied. If they could be, I'll send a transmission where everything's nice and clear. Hopefully you can put that up online. But otherwise, if you just have the copy, just Google that title there and go to this talk. It's 52 minutes. This is the most important thing most important thing before you say it's not your area, but this is the foundation of our country, fair elections. And so just Google voting machines and foreign influence, stolen elections, part of that title, and you'll get right to this. The whole transcript, I transcribed it, still cleaning it up a bit. It's 15 pages. This is just a short excerpt on here. That's part number one. Part number two is simply looking at the book, Stolen Elections, this one right here. If you get that and you read that or even skim through it, and I'd recommend it on Kindle because you can look at all the occurrences of, say, any of the election fraud, and you can find them all, jump right to them. But this is so easy to find. Once you read this or check out this podcast, you'll understand how there are stolen elections. And just a few things on what Michelle said earlier in the meeting. She said it would cost the county $14,000 to change it so that we don't have the 9 days of voting, early voting. The president had an executive directive to have ballots, the voting on one day. When you make that a small time period, it's going to be more secure. And do away totally with the mail-in ballots. You can't trust them at all. She said it would cost $14,000 to change this early voting, but that's part of the corruption. He says you can vote by mail if you have a good reason, but otherwise, just like it used to be. Make this precinct smaller if you have to. 14,000 is a pittance to secure our elections. She said you build back. Well, it's taking from the left hand and instead it's the right hand. It's Michigan or local taxes. It's the same thing. And she said people love to work these elections. Well, over 50% of all Democrats and Republicans polled said they would all be happy to work the elections if it was one person, one ballot, one vote, one day. But they don't trust that they make a difference otherwise, so you don't get nearly as many volunteers as you would if you had one-day voting. And so we will never have fair voting in Leelanau County, where in 2020 Supreme Court election, there was a 34% in Leelanau, 39 in Antrim, 45 in Grand Traverse, where the Supreme Court came out not as it had occurred for the 10 years before, all those elections. So read through these excerpts in part one. It happened in Venezuela is where it was developed. And he explains it all in the book here. And it started in 2003. Hugo Chavez, he was going to lose the election. He got 3 people from their top university to create the software. They stole the election. Then they spread it out to all of South America, and they unexpectedly won those elections. Then they brought it into America. They established in Florida, and the 3 writers were the founders, plus they had an assistant to Hugo Chavez on that list. It was owned by the Venezuelan government. Please consider this and get rid of those machines. We can't be assured of fair elections until that happens. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Mr. Mikowski?
Good afternoon. Some peculiarities today regarding childcare. The fascinating thing is that you were told by the director, I believe, that you have a vision for childcare. And so it's up to you to prepare the vision. Yet the people never petitioned for this millage, never petitioned for it. They never thought it was a problem. It was a bad dream dreamed up by the commissioners. A few people decided to have a program going to initiate a new millage, a self-initiation. What a fantastic program we have here. The MCL 46.11 doesn't say or doesn't mandate that commissioners develop their own program or put on ballot millages on the ballot. Most of this is always required by the petition of the people. So that's a fascinating thing. And then the prior speaker here mentioned about the commissioners seem to be irritated by public participation in meetings. I find that fascinating also. Also, another speaker spoke about the elusive issue with the commissioners about accountability, particularly on the Sevens Bay issue of land. There seems to be a desire to eliminate or remove any accountability by elected officials and appointed officials to handle that area. And further, though, we now have just reflected a little bit about 5 years ago, the magic wand was waved. On May 11, 2021, we waved the magic wand that would establish the finance department immediately to be a miracle department. 5 years later, the commissions and administrations have destroyed it. Totally destroyed, to having nobody employed in that department. Can you imagine that? How productive that was? Fascinating experience for the taxpayers who've seen over $1 million wasted on that effort. Where are we on this? 5 years later. Think about that. What a grand performance. You should all be embarrassed, and our prior commissions should be embarrassed. Again, our request for an apology on this matter, the clerk loathing motion, was not on this agenda again. We again will repeat our request for a policy resolution, because this problem will never go away. We can assure you it will never go away unless this commission puts together an apology resolution. We respectfully request that Leelanau County Commission prepare an apology resolution to apologize to all the bad, negative, harmful consequences caused by their commission's motions on May 11, 2021, the clerk loathing motion. It was the Board of Commissions motion and decision caused by an apparent emotional and reckless attempt to harm the clerk and the staff, and with a total neglect and disappearance of their fiduciary duty for the wasting of $1 million or more to this date. So again, I repeat that. Please put that resolution on the agenda. I'm sure that the administrator is capable of preparing it for you, or your attorney can do it. If you need help, I can help you also. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Right? Yes, Josh?
Josh Bauman, Elmwood Township. One just nitpicky note. Is it the phones of you guys by the mics that make the ticking back there? Because that noise is distracting. Just a heads up, something to be mindful of. Second thing, I do not know all about the 2% allocations from the tribe. I'm not coming as an expert. I looked up what I could just now because I've been hearing about it for like 2 years. It may be helpful for you guys to meet with the tribe and discuss exactly what those are, what they're for, just so we're all on the same page. Because like us being on different pages just sounds strange from the public. I don't know if it's all the Angler tribal decision in 1990s that I was reading about. Maybe not. My concern is basically, regardless of what is correct semantically, we don't want to piss off the tribe because they benefit our community. I loved hearing Commissioner Campbell going to their event. I think you mentioned that like 2 or 3 meetings ago. I thought that was great. It's like build inroads, have connection. Like it sounds like it was a great event. You all like each other. That's wonderful. And they're providing, I think it's $45 million towards various counties. That's really good. I think we should keep encouraging that behavior. So I would just caution people to speak publicly in ways that are not demeaning about the tribe. Especially like Pushabi Town, people live there. It's like the sidewalks. If it's on casino property, I completely agree with Commissioner Bunnick. Like we don't need to be paying for private sidewalks, but if it's in a town where people live, let's respect those individuals and make sure they have ways to walk around safely. That's all I got. Thanks.
Any other public comment? All right. Now we'll move on to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Bunnick?
Yeah, I listening to the public comment, I had a couple of things. I was wondering, can the land bank, rescind property tax without a contract for affordable housing? And I think that was a good question that was brought up. And then, it baffles me that people think the casino really benefits the community. I don't know that that's a benefit for any community. It takes a lot of money from the community.
Any other commissioner comments? All right,
I guess I would like to say that our county desperately needs affordable housing. And it's very, very difficult with present legal and financial structures and limitations to support that. So I am no longer in land bank or brownfield. I loved being involved with those. But always, we were looking for ways to support our residents. I think we all hope that our children and grandchildren can grow up here and find a home. And that people who are struggling to make ends meet can live here and work here and be part of our community. I do believe it is part of our job as county representatives to support anything that will support more affordable housing. Because right now, with the legal and financial structures in the state and in this state, it's a real difficult thing. So I applaud the land bank. I applaud Peninsula Housing. I applaud the school board. And I know not everyone wants to help our community members, but a lot of us do. So there will always be disagreement. But that is a known terrible lack in this county. So I welcome any action. And I really commend Mr. Moggy for his tireless work and devotion of his retirement to this issue, for assisting the people of this county with reasonable housing.
all right, any other commissioner comments?
Just a quick one. I don't know anyone up here who does not want to help our community members. Thank you.
I'll just make a couple of remarks. I guess over the last couple of weeks, I've been really bothered and disturbed by some of the comments, and I didn't write anything down. But some of the comments directed towards employees in this building here, whether it's public, and I never want to hinder public comment whatsoever in any aspect to speak their mind. I 100% support that, but I think as a board, as the public, I think we should advocate for bringing employees here that are public servants to the county and want to serve our county to the best interest that they can. And I just think that's the tone that we should set. And something I want to advocate for, whether that's somebody that has been in the past and comes back, or a new person that gets hired on for the first day. I think we need to celebrate that, and thank them for willing to serve this county and the people of the county. So with that, we'll move on to approval of financials. Ronnie?
Yeah, I move that we approve claims and accounts, or to recommend that we approve claims and accounts for $101,484.31.
Support. Supported. Discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried 6-0.
I would make a motion that we recommend the approval of post audit $2,606,879.85.
Support. Supported. Discussion? Not all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 6-0. All right. With that, we're adjourned.